Hello, everybody. Welcome to Hash Church episode 72. Here we are on a lovely Sunday morning. I'm going to go through my daily affirmations here, send out the links, mute the YouTube stream that I'm sure will start in the next 5 seconds and make a bunch of noise on my computer. It is taking a little bit longer than usual, but we will see. Oh, here it comes. And make a bunch. Boom. All right. So I'm just going to send out the links to our panelists for the day. And I hope everyone's doing really good out there. For those of you that are currently, in the suffering mode, just finding cannabis as your pain relief or as your way of improving the quality of your life, I say to you, hang in there. It's coming. You're going to do okay. It's better days are around the corner. So let me see here. We got that and we got that. I suspect we should see Etienne in the room any minute if he's not already. Oh, and there he is. Talk about showing up as I call him. That was perfect, Etienne. I literally just said, I suppose Etienne's probably in the room already. I clicked on the thing and it made the sound. You and 325 people rolled into town all at the same time.
Good morning, sir. How are you? And there's Mr. Todd.
I suppose Etienne's probably in the room already. I clicked on the thing and it made the sound. Todd's got his YouTube.
Yeah, got a sound going. Good morning, Todd.
It made it harder, too, for me when I start the chat and the YouTube chat takes 5 or 10 or 15 seconds. There's nothing there. So I used to be able to mute it before we started, but that's all good. How are you doing? Good morning, Todd. I didn't mute you. I apologize.
Turn off your mute there, Todd.
That was my bad. You were repeating through his mic, so. Welcome, Skunkman, Sam, and Todd McCormick.
Good morning. Good morning, good morning.
Good morning, Todd. Good morning, Sam. Or good evening, Sam.
Yeah. Are you there, Sam?
Now I am, yes.
Awesome.
Nice.
So we're 420 people. Nice and bright and early, 2 minutes into 9. Hash Church.
So Todd's down at the High Times Cannabis Cup. How's it going down?
You're at the High Times Cup, Todd?
No, technically I'm in a fucking hotel room right now, but yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. They had like a shit ton of vendors, and it's like the world's largest cannabis bazaar at the moment, easily. It is just, it's awe-inspiring to see that San Bernardino has allowed this basically test bed of cannabis culture to exist in this NOS center, because it's unlike anything I've ever seen in Europe. I mean, when we do the cannabis cups in Amsterdam, we have a 5-gram limit. The cops have come, shaken our booths down. They just remind us that we're second-class citizens and we're not really appreciated there. Right here, there is no police presence. There is, the feeling of freedom is unbelievable. People are just overtly dabbing. There's slabs. There's jars of weed. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's as someone who lived in Southern California and was prosecuted in Southern California, I would have never expected San Bernardino, which is a conservative county, to have taken such a lead in allowing these events to take place. And I wish they were listening right now, because thank you, because there's been Beer Fest and Oktoberfest and Wine Fest, and celebrating alcohol culture has been ingrained in California for a long time, and cannabis, in all honesty, has its roots in California. I mean, it's the beginning of West Coast cannabis culture, or I should say Western cannabis culture. If there's India, then really there's California, the Beach Boys. I mean, 15 years before, 20 years before there was ever a coffee shop in Amsterdam, you literally had, surfers in Santa Cruz lighting up. Yeah. So this place has just had it's so ingrained in its culture, and to allow this to start allowing this is really, I think it's awesome. And it's a little late, but seeing it happen, it's beautiful. It's really the future. It really is the future. So hats off to High Times. I'm glad that they're here, pushing the limits and allowing us to redefine our freedoms. So.
Well, I'm very glad you mentioned India, because it's like the only place I ever saw really more smoking than any cannabis event I've ever been to, or just more hash in general, was at the Maha Kumbh Mela in Haridwar, India, up in the north, which is one of the 4 holy towns that it happens in. Every 3 years, it happens every 12 years as a Maha, and every 144 years, these guys have been doing this for a while, it happens the Maha Kumbh Mela. And I've never seen more smokers and more smoking. Now, it was not a cannabis gathering per se, like the Cannabis Cup in San Bernardino, but it is absolutely a cannabis-friendly gathering where even the military people are not messing with hash smokers during the Maha Kumbh Mela. So
hey, let's give a shout out to John for being here and not being dead.
Johnny!
What's up, John?
Hey.
Hey, cheers to being alive, buddy. Cheers to being alive.
Thanks, guys. I feel fantastic. I could really totally tell you when Mark came into the hospital and I woke up, you really, really realize how much cannabis is truly your medicine. When you wake up and that pain that I was suffering from wasn't there anymore. And as much as I love my cannabis and it works for me every day and I'm still consuming it, my consumption dropped by over 50%, like right away. I don't need to get up and do 8 or 10 bong tokes. It's like,
well,
I love the punch herbs.
So hold on. What that means, folks, is now he lays down, he does 8 or 10 bong tokes.
Yeah, no, listen, one of the things that people might not know about Johnny is that for the last couple of years of knowing him, he's puffed very much like, not just like a hardcore puffer, but almost like someone that would be addicted to painkillers. He was puffing to remove pain that was just always there. And I'm telling you, I can see it in your face, John. You talk about the vibrations that you had, the burning. I don't see it there anymore, bro.
My neighbors, everybody who sees me, says my face and everything has changed. I'm being freed.
Yeah.
But you know what, though? You just nailed why I got into dabs, Mark, because I would chain smoke pot. You've seen me since you've known me. Chain smoke weed. And you know what? It helped me, but then I would dab, and it would change everything. And this is why I became such an advocate, because cannabis as a medicine is very effectual. When I started getting dabs, it became almost something that would alleviate the pain. Like, not just, like, buffer it, but, like, literally gone. Like, I wouldn't be thinking about it. I wouldn't feel cramped up. I wouldn't feel as tight in my mobility. I mean, really, concentrated cannabis or extracted cannabis to me has been a godsend.
100% Todd.
You too, Johnny. I watched it in you. I watched teaching you how to dry sift. I watched you get more excited about it than anyone else. And then when you were like re-inspired to make bubble hash, you got inspired again. And I could tell it was because joints were not relieving John Berfelo's pain.
No, I could not get rid of pain with joints at all. And that's one thing is with the rosin, it was like my biggest, oh my, wow. It was, I couldn't stop pressing all the Charmaire thing. What's going on? This stuff works so well.
Dude.
100%. Concentrates are the critical key to medicine when you're dealing with severe pain and stuff like that. Up here in Canada, I'm trying to take concentrates away from patients and not allowing us to access them and stuff like that. I mean, it's really, the concentrates is being my godsend. It's being what's helped me. It's what got me through my days in my extreme pain. If it wasn't for the dry sift and the bubble hashes, I don't know where it would have been back then. But I mean, everything kind of helped me. It was getting into more of the shadows were getting offered to me when I was in the beginning of some of these societies and stuff, and as I more or less move and progress more into the natural, getting into the hashes and the dry sifts, and then with the terpenes now, I really was starting to modulate my pain and understanding, like when the hospital became with all those terpenes, putting those terpenes underneath my nose and how it took my pain away, literally took my pain away. No one could do that. Like it was gone. And I was like, how did that happen? I wasn't smoking anything.
So
and
John, maybe a terp button instead of a morphine button?
Oh! And how about some live juices in there instead of just coffee and like canned fruit that you get in a hospital? Yeah, 100%. Like, it's definitely when I spent 11 years and Tom Petty came on song. You don't know what it's like to be free, and I cried because it was something that affected me for so long. Understand, my spinal cord was diffused and flattened and basically crushed between my C4 and my C6. So they had to take out the C4 and C5, and when they did, my spinal cord inflated, and a lot of people didn't know the biggest fear is my cord would burst. So, and I knew that going into the surgery, and I came out feeling fantastic, and it was surreal. And going into it, I was only able to use cannabis products. They took me off all amino acids, everything I used for pain, but I could smoke cannabis up until the minute I walked in the door.
I would also like to mention about John that when I went to the hospital to visit him, okay, I'm not sure if any of you have ever been to the spinal cord ward, the ward where it's only for spinal cord and neck injuries. It's a very serious fucking vibe on this floor. People are tied into chairs with bolts coming out of their necks, holding their head in place. They are completely like, this is a major, major traumatic floor. And we walk in, and Johnny B, he's just lighting up the whole fucking place. And it blew me away, John. I'm sure that you've thought of this, but I think that you would do a world of good to go back to that floor in the next couple of years and visit some of the people that are there, because I've never felt a vibe like that on a floor like that, where it was just clear that you were helped, that you weren't, it was just like everyone else was like, oh, I got a broken neck in this car accident, or I fell, but you were literally being extremely helped, and it just made me feel really good to see that that kind of vibe could exist in a place like that.
I got something really important I got to say. Okay, anybody that's listening to this and you give me pot samples today and it rolls a pinner, I'm not taking it. I'm not taking it. I'm not taking it.
There are rules to giving pot.
There are rules. I need at least 1.7 grams for a decent joint, and this is not a decent joint. I don't even know what to do with this now. It looks like a prison joint.
Roll up a fatty roach.
I do not do that anymore. Do you smoke? Oh my God! Do you scrape Who scrapes their bowl and smokes that? Remember that when we were kids? That was some good shit, though, wasn't it?
You're talking to a guy that hasn't smoked flowers in like 15 years, so.
Snob what?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I want to welcome Samurai Sam. Sam High is with us today, and I've been talking to Sam just privately, and he was very transparent with me. He came in and told me that he works for a company and that they've been doing research, and basically he was a little bit upset to see the way we kind of nonchalantly would talk about vape pens on Hash Church while we get into such detail with everything else. And I guess the information that he's learned, and he's not here just trying to shamelessly promote a company. He's obviously going to have to mention that company to tell us about what they've learned, but he's learning about the components that are used inside these vaporizer pens. And he's got some information to share with us today about the vape pens that we've been using. So welcome, Sam. I hope you don't choke on Hash Church, bro. Oh, we got no sound. First technical difficulty. Okay, this happens all the time. You might have to close your browser. What's that, Todd?
You cursed him.
No.
You don't have any problems, and then you mute his mic, and then you make him talk. I saw that.
I didn't mute his mic, actually.
Yeah, I see no mute button on
Mark
it.
doesn't have an evil bone in
You
him.
may have to restart there, Samurai. It depends. Just try toggling off your mute.
Back in here because I really want to hear from him. Come, yep. And Cuban Grower just came in. Welcome, Cuban. Congratulations on your win at the Cannabis Cup, San Bernardino.
Thank you, man. I hope you guys can hear me. I'm on my cell phone.
What did you win there, Cuban?
Second place. Well, actually, my wife got second place at the Kimball Kush. She's inside getting some coffee right now. But it was cool.
Give her mad props and congratulations.
Thanks, man. I just wish they would separate rosin and hash. It's like the second time that it places first place, and not that I'm upset, but it seems like if you look at the top three, only one hash in the top three.
Well, I'll say when I saw that name, Strawberry Banana, I've been lucky. Recently, I got a gift from a gentleman here locally in Canada. He sent me this beautiful, unbelievable care package. It's so fucking loud, I can't even tell you. But a ton of it in here is that Strawberry Banana bubble hash, and my God, is it friggin' delicious. I props to that Strawberry Banana, that is for sure.
Yeah, man, and not only that, but if you look at the hydrocarbon results, it almost like swept the cup. Strawberry Banana is very, very, very popular.
It's
top
unreal.
rankings, man.
Yeah,
It tastes great.
It does taste absolutely delicious. Hey, welcome back, Sam. Do we have audio on you? Nope. God, I hope we can figure it out. You might have to start your whole browser. Like, if you need to, you might even need to start your computer. But we really want to hear from you, dude. This is important stuff, so make sure you come back. Hey, welcome back, Sam. Do we have audio on you?
Do you hear me?
I can. You got to turn the YouTube off, Sam, just in case it's on. Your whole browser, like the audio's coming through on your mic.
Yeah, just turn the sound down. Oops, there you went.
He's like, I will just leave.
He's gone.
Oh man, it's so windy in California, bro.
Really, eh?
Yeah, yesterday I ate at a Denny's that I swear the wind was like 60, 70 miles an hour, dude. They said it's normal because it was between canyons, but it was like hurricane force winds.
Yeah, it depends on where you are, and you can definitely get canyon winds heavy and high, especially.
Hey, but Cuban, now you have an excuse for your hair.
Right? I
You
need
can be like, yo, it's the canyons.
Yeah, I need a hair tie, bro.
Well, we got 771 people tuned in at 9:15 o'clock, and we're going to discuss a few different things today. I did invite 2 new people, Sam, who's going to try and get his shit together and come back and tell us a little bit about just some of the information that they've learned from scoping out some of the interiors of these pens. And sometimes you have to break them to get into the interiors, and you see there's wires and there's glues and there's different things that we definitely don't want to be smoking on. I also invited a guy by the name of Chad, who is hopingly going to be coming in a little bit and talk about the crystallization versus distillate. I guess he's been playing around and talking about how a lot of people are making a distillate, and the distillate, I guess, doesn't come out quite as pure as the crystallization of THCA, so he just wanted to start a little conversation. I'm sure Mark Scialdone and Horatio will be excited for that one to happen. And other than that, just the good old regular folks here at Hash Church doing their thing. We got Cannabis Cup final day, I suppose. Is it the final day, Cuban?
Yeah. Hey, let me tell you that crystallate. I want to say it's called a crystallate, but the crystallized THC was really popular at the Cup, bro. They had a booth where they had that stuff, and then they would add the terps of your choice to like modulate it.
Yeah.
And it was like one of the hottest things at the Cup, bro. Everybody had one of those things.
Of course.
And for the pen, bro, it'd be cool to have the guys from Puffco on here sometime. Roger and those guys, they got first place for best pen at the High Times again. And they have this new one, bro, that you'd be stoked to have. It doesn't have a coil. It's a big ceramic bucket in the pen, right? Bro, super sick for hash and rosin. Once it's done, you can stick the Q-tip in it and clean it. It's really nice, man.
Atmos gave me one in Jamaica this last year, but I went to clean it and I killed it, unfortunately. But speaking of the crystallization, oh, that was him. Oh, there he is right there. Hey, welcome, Chad. Not sure if you can hear us. Figuring out his camera and his microphone. He'll get to it. 777 viewers. I love the number.
Can you hear me, Bubbleman?
I can hear you, Mr. Skunkman, and welcome from Amsterdam.
Yeah, my thing was out of sync and acted weird, so I restarted it. Now it seems to work.
Yeah, you're
Okay,
perfect.
Sam. What are you puffing on today?
Tange. And I got like maybe 1 or 2 more editions of that red Congolese, and then I have to move on to the next one.
Nice. That red Congolese is addictive for sure. I like to give people the smells of the creamsicles and the pineapple creams and the cherry 47s and the KB sunsets, and then pull out the red Congo. When you've got their nose all just in Fruitland, you pull out the red Congo and you see their eyebrows go up. They're like, what is that? It's like, well, that's what you don't smell in your grow room, unfortunately. But.
Here's the largest seed.
Oh, there it is. You got the largest seed. We wondered about that seed. So what seed is that again? Because people didn't know what that was. You brought that back.
It's a coco demure.
It's a coconut.
What think it's literally like a hemorrhoid pillow.
Did a sparrow carry it?
That is a real seed, you guys.
No, pigeon.
Is that a European or African swallow to carry that one?
I would say it would be an African swallow, a big coconut.
Oh, Todd.
I got it in the Seychelles.
Here's the thing, people. That is a real seed. He is not joking.
No, it absolutely is a real seed.
I have seen the seed.
A seed of what?
A coconut. A double coconut. It's called a Coco de Mer.
Coco. That's legit, bro.
And don't those like float around the ocean and then find islands and then hatch?
I think that people thought that was a hemorrhoid pillow last Hash Church, and I was wondering myself. I was like, that's that fucking seed that he's got. That is now. You don't bring a trunk full of those home, do you, Sam?
Can I just say something? I'm really glad pot seeds aren't that size, or we'd have a lot less weed.
I shipped 25 of these live to Hawaii to a friend of mine, and he has them growing on his property in Kauai. They're like 10 years old.
How big of a smart pot do you need? I'm just kidding.
800 gallons. Just
Yeah,
to
800 gallons.
He has them in the ground.
That's amazing, Sam. Everything you show is literally like people are like can't wrap their heads around it. It's like, yeah, it looked like one of those pillows you wear on the plane.
I forget what they can weigh, 20, 40 kilos. I mean, they're ridiculous. If they fall off of a tree and land on your head, it kills you.
How big are the coconuts on that tree?
Those are the coconuts. That's the coconut.
That's a weird-looking coconut.
Yeah, it's a double coconut.
So the tree, does it grow really tall, this particular variety?
It's pretty tall, but I've seen taller coconut trees, but they're only really from the Seychelles.
Right.
In the Indian Ocean.
All right, guys. Well, I'm going to say goodbye for a while. We're going to go to the Cannabis Cup, and maybe I'll say hello from there.
All right, Todd. Have a great day.
Hey, Todd, have you been there the last 2 days?
Yeah, I was there last night. I didn't leave till late. And we're going to head back there now and go in before it opens so we could talk to people and see stuff. So if I can find a quiet place with my laptop, I'll get back on.
Where are you, Todd?
Right now I'm in a hotel at a nondisclosed location.
I get it.
Hey,
He's in San Bernardino, Sam.
No, he's not in San Bernardino. But the event's in San Bernardino, just off the 10 at the NOS Center.
Hey, come check me out, bro. Let's smoke some hash.
For sure. All right, so we'll be there in a little while.
See ya, man. I'm gonna get off of here too.
All right, see you guys.
Later, guys.
Have a good cup, guys.
All right, bye.
More people tuning in from the cup as the day progresses. Last day, although it's weird, I always thought the last day was when they announced the awards, but I guess they announced awards yesterday, and then there's still another day of cup. That's kind of a cool way to do it, isn't it? Never heard of such a thing. It's always been on.
Allows people to celebrate with each other as well as see each other, because a lot of times, I mean, it was also last weekend too, so it's kind of a double weekend. And
which is also something I've never heard. So
yeah, that's a totally new thing, because as Todd was talking about, the center that allows it is one, it's large, two, extremely tolerant, three, they've got ample parking, and they move people through there. And on top of that, there's food vendors throughout. I'm speaking from, I went to Chalice there last year, and that was amazing. So yeah, High Times has definitely realized that it's definitely can make money. So I mean, it's definitely expending things. I mean, Friday night they had Wiz Khalifa playing there, so the place was definitely packed and going off. And I'm glad that I always kind of disliked in the past at the Cannabis Cup in Amsterdam. The last night was the cup, and then it's it. Everyone's packing up and leaving. So I think it's good that they have another day to celebrate and to party together, because I think it's more deserving of the winner, as well as people can appreciate, the community can appreciate it and learn about it, as opposed to waiting until High Times. Unless you didn't attend the actual award ceremony, you had to wait till the High Times to come out, to actually find out.
I like the High Times in Amsterdam because it brought the cannabis community together, and then we could have a Legends.
True enough, Sam. You nailed it right there. I mean, we didn't even have a Legends, keep in mind, for, what did we start, in the 13th year of the High Times Cannabis Cup?
Yeah, we had like 12 years of it, so and I think it was 25 years. Yeah, so something like that. But you got to remember, High Times, they built upon the ideas that Rob and I gave them because we had attended a Harvest Festival in Santa Rosa, and it was, I think, maybe 20 years every year before High Times ever had theirs. But this was a private, by invitation only Harvest Festival.
And so you told Hager about that? Is that how that happened?
Yes, exactly. Me and Rob did.
Yeah.
And then he had the idea to have one in Amsterdam held by High Times.
Well, good idea for sure. It definitely, I wouldn't have met so many people in the industry and in the community. It's definitely where I met Sam. It's definitely where I met a lot of great people. And, it's kind of an era gone past that Amsterdam Cannabis Cup. In
the beginning, there was no 5-gram limit. That was only the last 5 years.
Was it even the last 5? Was it? Yeah, I guess it was 5 years. 2011. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really wasn't enforced.
They searched you to make sure you didn't have more than 5 grams.
I know. They always started at my booth for some reason.
It was the year.
How would that work with dabs and shatter?
Yeah, 3 years in a row, the cops came right to my booth and started at my booth.
What they did, Bubbleman, was they actually sent 2 private detectives undressed in plain clothes through the thing first, so they saw you were probably a center of attraction.
Yeah, I was laying out people with bubble hits for sure, and I had a big bag of bubble every time. So
yeah, so that's why they had it for you, they had it for Soma, and a few other folks,
The problem with that was that I had so many people at my booth that each time they came to search me, I just threw my hash down on the table and told everyone to pick up 5 grams, and it was real simple.
Well, what I saw everybody do the first couple of years was take all the extra dope and hide it underneath the trash can. Not in the trash can. They actually looked there, but underneath the trash can, they never looked, and there was huge amounts of stash down there.
And the bathroom was hilarious. I came out of the bathroom right away, mainly because right before that, I remember someone giving me, it was like an ecstasy pill and going, oh, so-and-so wanted this. I was like, oh, I don't really fuck with that shit. And they were like, well, just give it to him. And I was like, okay. So he gives me this ecstasy pill, and then literally they're like, oh, the cops are coming to bust everyone. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, I don't even, oh, man. So I went to the bathroom, and I went to, I just got rid of it. I didn't even flush it because I can't flush drugs down the toilet. I hid it in the bathroom, and then I told my friend later that he could go get it. The person he was so happy. But coming out of the bathroom, the main cop was like, he was not happy when he saw all of us coming out of the bathroom. There was like a lineup of people.
Well, the very first year, I actually left about 10 or 15 minutes before the police came because High Times warned me that they had heard rumors the police were coming and that they thought they had been already sussed out by detectives and stuff. So I left, and sure enough, 10, 15 minutes later, they hit High Times and did a whole number on them. And the second year they did it, and again the third year, and they just got tighter and tighter and more stick up their ass, and
yeah,
until finally the last time, there was no vendors, there was no, it was a joke. The best thing at the last one here in Amsterdam at the High Times was Mila's party.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Hey, welcome back, Samurai Sam. Do you have audio?
I sure hope so after the debacle I just went through. You guys hear anything?
You do have audio. That's great. Good.
Excellent.
It happens to the best of us. Don't feel too bad. Not to mention, as much as I want to be organized with Hash Church and make plans and get everyone organized, I don't.
Well, yeah, no worries. If it ever happens again, try switching the USB cable on your webcam. That's what worked for me this morning. So. glad that I figured it out and got to come join you.
Perfect. Yeah, well, I wouldn't mind getting right into it with you. You know, if you want to tell us a little bit about, I don't know, just, you know, a generalization of why you came on Hash Church today to share information with us.
Sure. What drew me in was some recent discussions on Hash Church. We've seen some vaporizers come up for discussion. A lot of people are using little inexpensive wax pens, and like Horatio mentioned, they're a pretty simple device. There's a coil of wire around there that heats up your wax, and then you vaporize through it. But a lot of people pay a lot of attention to the materials they're dabbing off of, like grade 2 titanium became very popular, and then a lot of people have transitioned over to quartz. When you're inhaling through an electronic device, I personally think that we should be putting the same standards into the materials in that pen. And a lot of people aren't aware of what's inside of their devices. Just recently on the Hash Church Facebook group, I shared a link a few days ago about these portable e-nails that have recently exploded in popularity. They're manufactured in China and branded a bunch of different brands, Greenlight Vapes and the Dabadoo. And we found that once you tear this down, that this ceramic heating rod sits in direct contact with PTFE. Users were seeing bubbling happen on the top of their nails, and this plastic melts. It's a really unsafe situation. We've got solder on the bottom of this ceramic heating rod. I'll try to pull up a picture so I can share it with you guys. But yeah, that's kind of what we're about. Is I work for a company called W9 Tech, and we make vaporizers with a lot of attention paid to the materials inside. We use grade 2 titanium heating wire and no glue or solder like you see in a lot of these overseas units.
Can you tell us a little bit about the titanium that they're claiming to use in these Chinese pens? I hear that they're an actual alloy more than they're actually titanium.
Sure. There's a lot of different types of titanium out there. Grades 1 through 4 of titanium are commercially pure. They have no other elements besides just titanium. And there's just slight differences in how strong those metals are. Grade 5 and beyond are all alloyed with other metals. And the vast majority of vaporizer coils that we've seen are made using grade 5, which is called TiAl4, and that's because it contains aluminum and vanadium. So that it's done because you can't weld titanium to a non-titanium metal. You have to have another metal in there to actually make this connection happen. So by putting small amounts of aluminum and vanadium, they can weld the resistor, which is the part that heats up, to a non-resistance lead with a spot weld. And you can't do that when you use pure titanium. That's why it's cheaper for them, and they build them out of the cheaper material.
Right, so I like your point on how sort of obsessed we've been getting with the electric nails, the quartz, the silicon carbide, the sapphire. It's interesting that there's just been little motion, in my opinion. There are pens that are, you know, coming out each time that seem to be a little bit better. I mean, at first we saw the double coils, and Cuban just mentioned the ceramic coils that are completely encased, and all you see is basically a ceramic bucket. But what you're saying is it's what's behind that bucket that we need to pay attention to.
Definitely. What's on the underside of that coil, because what's inside the bottom of that cartridge is still going to get hot. So that's kind of where we want to go. We want to not just talk about the element inside, but you know what's underneath here. I'll take one of these things apart if you'd like to kind of see what goes on underneath. I think that would be pretty interesting.
To mention the analytical mic, I don't think Sam's doing a sales pitch at all. He's talking about something that is 100% important, which is our safety and our health. And if we're going to be so obsessed about the surfaces that we dab off of the way we have been, and I like to think it's fairly important. I don't hit pens a lot, but I definitely hit them here and there. And every time I do hit one, I think, you know, I wish that there was at least a few companies battling it out on the standards and quality sort of platform, and really just sort of taking these pens, which is a great idea. Nobody can deny that that pen, the minute they saw it, was a multi-million-dollar idea. Who doesn't want a little tool in their pocket that will give them a dab on the road, on the move, without being plugged into you know, a multi-thousand-dollar bong and an electric nail? It is a nice option to be able to have. And when Sam approached me, he was very much like, look, I don't want to come on and shamelessly promote the company that I'm working with, but it is the company that has been doing the work that I'm about to come and share with you. So I just like to Yeah, he did say he works for a pen company, Analytical Mike, but he certainly isn't doing an advertisement. I'm answering Mike in the chat room right now, for those of you that are wondering. I just see things like that, and I think that's just not the way the conversation needs to go. He's here to share information. It's not a shameless plug. How are we going to learn about these components? There's kids vaping off Chinese pens right now. I've seen them actually blowing up in people's faces, and I get every single week, I get literally 100 people asking me, what kind of vaporizer is Horatio using? Like every week I get literally 100 of them. So I wanted to have a little conversation about it. I don't personally vape glycerins or juices or anything like that, but there's a lot of people vaporizing out there right now with these pens, and I thought it could be potentially a positive conversation that we could have in Hash Church. Definitely not the whole church, but a positive conversation nonetheless.
It's a conversation that's needed because the technology is so pervasive and it's everywhere nowadays. And now with the new e-nails and things like that, that's why we've all tended to go toward quality things like quartz or sapphire or like this sick nail and things like that, because we don't want to exactly what we see on screen there. We want to ingest as best as we can because we're already using concentrates as is, so harm reduction is key. And harm reduction is also how we ingest it. So, if people are utilizing these pens, they need to know what's actually in them because it's not like anyone's really telling them. So I think it's beyond a valid discussion that should be having. It's one that we should have that's ongoing because there's so many diverse companies out there. Some are using the same, basis, from the get-go, but it's not like anyone's telling you which one's bad, which one sucks, which one's good. I've used the Puffco one because it has a ceramic inside for a portable unit because I investigate and look at things, and I'm still looking to see what's out there and what's the best. That's my choice I've used the Omicron, and I had a great deal of success for it on the road a couple of years ago. The larger unit with the large refillable, and big fan of it because one, it was also all titanium. It was easy to clean. It did gum up a bit depending on the quality of the. I use very high quality oil, so it tend to drip through, especially the air intake. So I mean, I know that, and I'm happy that there are companies like that that are always pushing the standards, that are looking at what's out there and are challenging the status quo because. What do we know? We don't know much, and what we know is that we don't know nothing. And if that's the case, then we need people from companies coming on here and telling us about products. And I don't care if people think it's a pitch or not. We have to understand what's out there, and I think it's key for all of us to understand. So thank you very much, Samurai, for taking the time, and I of course taking shit from people for it. But the reality is that we're glad there's people out there testing the waters and challenging what's out there, because I myself have wondered. I rolled through last summer and a place was offering me that exact kind of vaporizer right there on the road, and from my own mental using I realized, well, I have to go OG. I had to go get an actual torch and a tine nail because I didn't trust the technology that was there. That was my choice going off of that wasn't available. Otherwise, that's a nice dose of otherwise, I'd use something like that. But I did end up getting just a small little banger, so that worked for me. But the frustration is when I'm traveling, I want a portable unit that I can either plug into the car or isn't utilizing, stuff that I don't know what glues that's in the coil. Because I've actually tried about 30 different kinds of vaporizers through the years, and I wonder which ones actually did damage to me. Because I would actually get in and investigate, because I was fortunate enough to have one, and of course I'm always curious, so I always have a magnifying glass on and go, oh shit, that's off-gassing this, what the fuck is that? So
did you ever hold down the power in one of these vaporizers with no oil inside and see if they released anything?
Exactly.
That's the key test.
That is the key test. And the only thing I would add to when people say, oh, I looked at mine's pure all titanium, like they pull out these little units and they're like, yeah, this is all titanium, it's just glass and titanium. And I'm like, well, what do you think's inside the fucking titanium? It fucking heats up, bro. There's wires, and I think you nailed it really well, Sam, in the sense that if you're breathing through something that is electric, it's probably not a bad idea to know the effects that it's going to potentially have on, this is science once again. We're heating things up to red hot. Johnny just showed his pen. That's getting red hot, cooling, red hot, cooling. What happens when that happens, Mark, in chemistry?
And the one that Johnny's showing there is a ceramic heating unit, right? This is becoming pretty popular these days. And underneath the ceramic heating element is a big chamber. What's down there? Well, on the majority of the units that we've seen, it's glue that holds the base of those ceramic elements together.
Yeah, I've taken mine all apart. I got about 10 of them in front of me. They come apart. Some of them are all the same batteries, different ends. We got different tips, trippy stick, boss, this, that. I'm a consumer. Me and Mark have Bubbleman. We've gone through so many pens over the last couple of years. Like literally, I got 15 pens. They all seem to work for a little bit, and then you throw them away. And then they burn out, or they start coming apart, or this gets loose, or this breaks, or this one burns out. And the pens, I'm really just taking a listen, because as you're talking, I'm walking around looking at all these pens I have around me. I use pens, but when it comes down to it, this is what I have. I got a little rig and a torch, and that's what we have to use. I'm just these new pens that everybody's using right now. They're very, very popular up here, and they come with just a distillate inside of it, or some terpenes or whatever, and they're just a straight pull. I like them, but once again, I mean, am I, talking more about these pens? Is what's in these things and what we're using, is it harming us? Right? Like, I guess when they're putting them together, we get garbage.
Yep. They're all made overseas. A lot of them are made in the same factories and branded by different companies over here. So it's just real to go into a lot.
They're all different companies. I think they're all from the same damn factory.
There we go.
Yep. Come on. Like, there's I got 5 of them here. They're all identical. They all have different names. They all have different little coils. Triple rip, one, this,
and they'll all fit together and have all the same threading.
Oh, yeah. And they all come apart. If you don't pull it here, they all come apart here. And I got extra batteries. And I mean, this was one of the better ones. Mark was talking about this one. This was great. You remember?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So this was this was a good one. But once again, you know what? It's a little heavy. It's bulky. You don't want to have this in your top pocket. This was really convenience, and pens are great, and we need them. And I'm hoping we're going to have really advancements with pens, because I need one around my neck. This saved me in the hospital. I was able to use a terp pen with this in there, and no one knew I was smoking. It smelled like grapefruits.
I knew.
I know you did. Everybody's like, they moved me in my room right away. I started getting my roommate stoned. He's like, I haven't smoked a joint in 2.5 months, and he was a quadriplegic. I stuck the pen in his mouth. He's like, thanks, dude.
Well, I'll tell you, it's definitely like there's no reason why we can't get a pen developed, or the people that are out there working on it. I just like the idea of a pen being compromised of, made up of medical grade components, and maybe even tested for a long time before it's released to the public. The idea of getting those pens and then having the battery fall out of its case because the glue heated up and released, you've got to know that that glue is vaporizing and that you're inhaling it. That's just, how could it be any other way? So.
No, it's 100%. That's why I like hearing this today and talking about it. It's we all use pens, everybody.
A question for Sam would be, okay, so now we know pens are a bit of a mess. I know Puffco is trying to get away from glue and wires, and there's some other companies working on it. What can people do right now? Is it just stay away from all pens? Is it do your research? Is it break them up with hammers like you're doing to see?
A bit of it is you got to do some research, and you've got to find out what's inside there. And if the manufacturer of the pen isn't going to tell you what's inside, you might not want to trust them with your money and go to a manufacturer that knows the composition of their pen. A lot of the companies that are buying these pens in bulk don't actually know, and that's why you had a lot of fiberglass wicks in the first generation of these wax pens. I'm sure you guys saw a lot of the thin white fibers inside the coil before companies like Puffco came out with the ceramic atomizers. Fiberglass, I mean, if you've ever worked with it, you don't want to be inhaling that, but yet it seemed to be good enough for people to load their wax on and inhale through. So ceramic is definitely a step in the right direction. There's a lot of companies out there now that are trying to use quartz rods, because quartz becoming pretty popular in the dabbing world. But both the white ceramic and quartz have no porosity to them, so they're pretty poor choices for a wicking material that you're trying to absorb oil with. We use a black ceramic wick inside our pens so that you can actually hold some oil inside. and then it's surrounded with grade 2 titanium wire. You should take your pen apart and you should find out what's inside there, because if there's anything, anything on the inside, any glue or anything like that, you should know about it. So that's my recommendation: is find out what's in there.
What about patents? Are these pens not patented, or is this just a free-for-all? Because generally, I know if there was a patent, you might be able to see the construction of the pen all the way through.
Definitely. No patents really exist in China. These things get manufactured overseas, and intellectual property in China kind of belongs to the people. So trying to get anything out of that is a bit difficult. This is what I'm talking about with the different kinds of wires that are used. This is how you could tell that your pen actually has a grade 1 through 4 titanium. If it has no crimps like this, it's going to have grade 5 or worse in it. It's going to have some sort of metal besides titanium to make it able to be welded.
Mm.
So,
see, that's just good information, in my opinion. That's great information if people want to. I mean, I know a lot of people aren't going to be eager to pull apart their $60 and $80 vaporizer pens, but my God, if it's a safety issue and you're able to, just from our minor conversations we've had in the last couple of days, I haven't hit a pen. Got my quartz, I got my silicon, I got all these different great sapphire, all these great things to hit off of. It just seems to be maybe a little bit crazy.
Maybe we should take a hit off one of them, Bubbleman.
All right, that's it. I don't think I've taken a hit this day. Let's go sapphire. We're turned up.
And then the first thing, I just broke this one apart, like the one I've been using. With this little hole inside of here. I'm going to dissect this now. I'm curious.
Cool.
No one's going to do it. I'm going to do it right now.
Awesome, awesome.
All right.
That's what we need. We need more people who want to find out the answer.
Yeah, no, I'm curious. I want to see how I can pull this apart.
Pen dissection live on Hash Church.
Well, you know what? It might not be the most exciting conversation, and we're not explaining how to make the best resin in the world, but holy shit, it's true. Like when Sam told me the amount of energy that you guys are spending talking about the nail surfaces, it would just be great to have a small conversation about pens. I think the tip that he showed you guys with those crimps, I think that was very important to understand that if your wires don't have those, then you're looking at a much lower quality titanium, which is, I believe, what Sam just mentioned.
Or not titanium at all, because you can attach like a nichrome wire to a non-resistance lead with no crimps and it works fine, but then you know that you're dabbing off nichrome.
What's in the middle of this here is kind of like a paperous fiber I'm pulling out of this now, and I can see it all over this plate. It's kind of, I'm going to tell you, this doesn't look like it's really something that should be heated.
A paper material?
See that?
I got to admit, that's new to me.
That's fiberglass.
Pull that out of there. That's fiberglass. Thank you very much. I'm not using this pen anymore. I'm done. Done. Thank you. I'm just completely done. I'll never use this pen again. I just pulled fiberglass out of this tip, like you just told me to. This sits on top of the solvent, and that's what's burning. Thanks, dude. I appreciate it. That's awesome.
If you ever notice the guys
I can't believe you pulled that out of my pen.
If you ever notice the guys who blow in fiberglass insulation into your attic are all wearing breathing apparatus, because you're not supposed to breathe that, because those are basically very abrasive fibers that can actually do all kinds of permanent damage in the lung mucosa. You do not want to be breathing small airborne fibers, fiberglass.
When the first vaporizers were invented, it was actually invented by a good friend of mine in Santa Cruz named Chris Card, and what he did was he got a regular, like a big hubbly bubbly type device, and then he would put a paint strip or heat gun on top of it. And the first thing that we did was we found out that most of them had asbestos in them, so we found a brand that didn't, a Braun brand, which delivered clean hot air, and yeah, the rest is all history. That was like maybe in 80 or 82 or something like that. It was a long time ago.
And then 10 or 15 years later, Mark McCoy from the Vriptech company would develop a relationship with the president and CEO of Steinel, which owned the world patent on the ceramic heater core that those guns use. So even if you were a company that had a heater core that was ceramic in your gun, it still came from Steinel. So it was the Steinel guns.
I remember the brand that Chris, Jeff Card, used, and that was Braun.
Braun.
That's the one that we could find that was, had the cleanest hot air supply for us.
The trick was getting it onto the plant matter without blowing the plant matter out of the bowl.
Yeah, well, what we had was a fairly tall, upright, long bowl so that you could sort of, and we had a copper attachment at the end of on the end of the blower, so that you could fit it around it, and it worked really good. We had no trouble with it blowing away the weed, and it worked really amazing. First time we tried it, we couldn't even believe it. But it was modeled after a Jamaican steamer, because I had already known about and seen and heard of Jamaican steamers. And so I says, isn't there a way that we could build a little pipe that would vaporize using, I told him I wanted it with a magnetron.
Okay, wait, I stand corrected. I've been informed from my good friend Dave Bonvillain at Elite Cannabis and my boys in Elite Cannabis that is actually cotton. It is not fiberglass. It is actually cotton, and similar to a candle wick, as long as it's saturated with oil, it will not burn, and it will undergo capillary action. So it's not fiberglass.
Are the ends burnt or combusted at all?
Mark, it can't be fiberglass. I vape with fiberglass through the coil. Like, you actually feed the cotton.
Okay, so
I vape with cotton. I vape with cotton. When you put cotton through the coil.
Burn. See if light the fiber and see if it burns. If it burns, it's cotton. If it doesn't burn, it's fiberglass.
Be that simple. And I would only
on Hash Church.
I would only say for cotton.
Yeah, here we go. You guys ready?
Yeah.
I'm not sure we put more chemicals on a single plant than cotton, from before the seed is planted till the day it's reaped.
Oh yeah.
Definitely a nasty.
It's attacked by weevils. It requires a huge pesticide load, and it's only grown in certain acidic soils, and it's a terrible crop. Does it burn?
Also, too, Mark, a cotton wick does slowly burn and dissipate. I mean, that's why candle wicks don't last forever.
Right.
If you have enough wax, the wick still burns down slowly.
I gotta get a lighter. Yeah, it's not burning. It's just kind of balling up here.
We use organic cotton through the actual coil. So if John has cotton in a concentrate pen, it wouldn't work. It would basically have to be.
That's what's going on.
That's in your pen.
That's in your pen. It's burning black.
Holy fuck.
There you go.
Okay, so it burned?
Oh, it burned black, and with black soot coming from it. You know when you put a black...
So that is not fiberglass. Fiberglass does not burn, so it's cotton.
There you go.
All right. Stay on villain.
Crispy black matter now. That's awesome.
At least you found out it wasn't fiberglass.
Okay, now we know. So now it's not fiberglass. It was cotton. It took a while to burn. It definitely balled up into a little ball. Black soot came from it. This is dissecting pens here, guys. This is fun. Okay, next one. I gotta get it now. I'm kidding.
Yes, I mean, we do on this show pay attention to a lot of the quality of the material we're putting into them. You think that we would pay as much attention to the device itself, because after you vaporize that beautiful hash or that beautiful shatter, that beautiful oil that you paid a lot of attention to in cultivating and making, now you're putting it into this, overseas made machine that thermally assaults this oil and totally tears apart the most sensitive of molecules. So yeah, we should. This is a very relevant subject, Mark. We should be paying attention to it.
Yeah, I mean, it really started with the plastic bongs in the 60s. I mean, give us
Yeah.
a break. What do we want a plastic bong for when you can get a glass or a bamboo one with a little clay bowl that you pull
Right.
out?
Well, ceramic was very popular at the time too because it
Well,
was.
ceramic is safe, probably, if it's not leaded.
Well, the problem is they were using those alloy aluminum bowls inside of them. That was the problem.
Yeah, on bongs, I always made little clay bowls out of a chillum stem, so that worked really perfect. They don't
Like
get hot.
like a Sepsi tip, or
Yeah, well, it's not like a Simpsy tip. What it is imagine a chillum, and the smaller part of it, if you cut it off so it was only about an inch tall, then you'd have a bowl, and it could fit for weed. You could fit it right into, or for hash, you could fit it right into what you want to smoke.
Mm.
For a bong, because it doesn't get hot, so you can put your fingers on it right after you've smoked it and pull it up.
I guess what I would mention in regards to this is that, you know, we were rec smokers, and it's true. People always say, hey, we smoked the moldy Mexi weed out of plastic bongs, and we didn't get sick, we didn't die. It's just like, yeah, you know, but now it's like we're really promoting to get out of prohibition. We've really, you know, it's been like, recreational to me is huge, because in recreational there is preventative, and preventative is medicinal. So I'm one of the people that see all cannabis use as equally as important, but I understand for the mainstream that we need to push.
You've heard the story, Mark. All cannabis use is medical use. Well,
Right.
you know
what we're talking about here, though, is
let's be honest here. All cannabis use is religious. I have been using cannabis religiously for 50 years.
Spiritually.
what we're talking about here is harm reduction in any way that we can reduce harm. If we're going to be patients, I've been a patient since Gulf War, 25 years ago. So for myself, it's always I've looked and talked with other patients, many who have died along the way, and it was how can we reduce our harm from our medicine, you know. So from before it was, you know, smoking as impure a paper as you could get, and as pure bong as you can get. Now how safely we can vaporize, because my patients turned me on to dabbing, and then had to go find different ways of ingesting it, you know. From back in, you know, 15 years ago, I was using the Steinel with the Vritec, you know, and rolling into parties and showing people, hey, this is what vaporization is, because we didn't have concentrates and things like that, so it was just rolling off the flowers. And yeah, it was fortunately Steinel and people looking at, you know, Sam, you know, looking at those asbestos cores and realizing, hey, this is another way that we have to reduce our harm, is find something that has a ceramic core as opposed to the asbestos core, so that we know what we're inhaling is as safe as possible. So I think it's been, for me, it's always been an ever long quest of finding what works, what's new. Currently, this is what I'm using, the sapphire with, you know, heating element, using, you know, grade 2 titanium or straight ceramic, so that, you know, as different ways. But
does the
you know,
sapphire last longer than the quartz?
yes, I have not. I'm still on my first sapphire. I was sent a quartz because they sent me one by accident, but I've been using the same sapphire from the
quartz
now.
The quartz are pretty tough. I mean, you can heat them red hot and throw them in water.
Yeah, you can't do that with sapphire, but the problem with quartz is the way it dissipates heat so amazingly that the side dishes on the sapphire dish, the side walls, because it's a coil that heats up the bottom of the pan, only the bottom of the pan actually cleans up. So if you're dabbing, like scooping the dabs off the lip and it's dripping down, you end up with these black walls that you eventually have to fire up to clean, whereas the sapphire, all you have to do is turn the nail up to 9 or 100 or 1,000 degrees. It heats up. It cleans the sapphire back to white, like as new can be. And you don't have to you don't have to use a Q-tip. You don't have to do any of that. And with quartz, you really do. If you want to preserve your quartz from oxidizing and turning cloudy, you basically need to take a Q-tip every time you take a rip and clean the residual of your rip so it doesn't carbonize to your nail.
And people are working on improving this now, and somebody's right now working in R&D and creating something that's going to be even more unique and different. So, you know, if anything, continue the R&D people constantly.
I want to be the first one with a fused diamond one.
Yeah, probably not likely. It's going to be not economically viable and not be able to be made, mass manufactured at some big plant in China, which is where they're all made right now.
Right.
Yeah, but what about
and use materials that, you know, you're not going to be wanting to pay, you know, $5,000 for a disposable pen, which is what you're going to be doing. It's if you're going to have a diamond contact in there.
Right.
It's economically not feasible whatsoever.
Maybe you could give one to your wife for, you know, for a wedding present.
Yeah. I think it's time to blow smoke towards the Vatican. Once again, I want to give a shout out to Concentrated X for the incredible kickdown, strawberry banana and like purple god, and just incredible full melt dry sift that I have photographed.
Hey, we're almost to 1,000 people too. We're 968.
Well, maybe if we all take a big rip right now.
Hey, so you know we've been doing, like, asking everyone to write in, like, well, Todd's thing was where you're from, and Etienne's thing was what weed are you smoking? I want to ask a question. How old is everyone? Type in your age. Let's see what kind of demographic we're looking at here.
Look at that. Todd felt you biting his style. He was like, I think Mark Scialdone's biting my style in Hash Church. I'm just going to check.
Mark, I'm going to get that trademark. Hold on a minute. I'm going to file a provisional patent on all my friggin' ideas, okay?
He changed it. He changed it just enough so your patent is void, bro.
Every one of these little fucking scientists, that's their whole game. They're like, hey, good idea. Hold on a minute. Take a right. My idea. My idea. Actually,
Hey, but look at this. Look at these ages. Nobody above 70.
I can't find
you
it.
know what? I'm gonna actually make a survey monkey, and I'm gonna actually send it out to the community. And I would love people to actually give us feedback on demographics and such, because really cannabis is emerging as a cannabis demographic. And I mean, big companies are starting to acknowledge it. Politicians are starting to acknowledge it. It's becoming a real. I mean, this show must have grossed a couple $1 million. I mean, $3,000 a booth times 500. What's that math, Mark?
You're talking about 1,515.
The booths here?
150,000 and
4,000, and those are just for the small ones, not 3.
You guys are adorable. That it's not 150,000.
What is it? 400 booths?
Oh, here it is.
Well,
Okay.
974. We got a couple for the bong rip. The ages are still going. 64 and still a savage. Nice.
it was nice to see those ages. Most of them between a lot of were 30s and 40s. So we're watching it all the way through. We had a 109.
How about a 35, 55, and 57? Jared Morgan. Boom. Watching with 2 buddies right now. Excellent, excellent. Oh, hey, we gotta, oh, geez, I never did. I'm bad, I'm terrible. I meant to welcome, I guess it was Mike or Chad who would come back into the room there to talk a little bit about THC crystallization, but maybe he'll be back later. We're just calling it.
We should have Brad on sometime. I would love that. He was the one that gave me the THCA samples. Yep, Cali Labs. Yeah.
Of course, dude. I've been trying. Listen, anyone that has something to share that's, you know, that people are going to want to know. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're, you know, someone known or someone unknown. If you feel that you have valid information to share, it's kind of what Hash Church is all about. You know, we don't claim. I really want to state this strongly because, first of all, I mean, I'll speak for myself because maybe the other guys consider themselves. I do not consider myself an expert. I don't. I'm just a dude learning, happy to share my information that I learn. But we are also human and fallible, and we don't know everything. So if you hear us saying things that don't, you know, that don't vibe with what you know, and I'm not talking about just an argument. I'm talking about valid truth. Like Sam hitting me up and saying, listen, like you guys are talking about these vape pens, showing these vape pens like they're good products. There's glue and wires and all sorts of shit, and at least let's let your audience know that that it
Well,
can be.
and the fiberglass thing, I assumed it was fiberglass. It was just an assumption because it's not a burnable material, but you can wick through it. So to find out that it was actually cotton, I mean, hey, thanks, Dave. I can be corrected. I can be wrong.
There are a lot of really interesting materials used in different ways, so I wasn't sure due to the resolution if it was wicking or under the cup. We have seen nickel mesh for some reason being used under ceramic cups, and all sorts of really weird things put in. Not sure why, but yes, could be fiberglass underneath some of the cups in some of those vape pens.
Well, I definitely think it's going to be a young guy like yourself, Sam, or a group of young gals, whatever people. And in the sense of finding out a way to get out of the box that we're currently in. Neil Young always had this incredible sort of perspective when he would be asked about random albums that he would do that was just so outside of what people knew were as Neil Young, the classic Neil Young, and he would do these weird, like, 80s disco type album or just strange
stuff. Smart.
Shocking
things, right?
Right. So, but when Neil was asked about it, he said, "Listen, anyone can create a success and then recreate that success over and over again. I don't get much from that." So he was kind of an out-of-the-box kind of guy wanting to recreate. So I really see that this vape pen especially is just like that. It's so easy to just rebrand these pens without really doing anything. And the people that think they're doing a lot are like adding an extra coil or covering what's already there with a ceramic dish. And these are minor improvements, albeit, but they will lead to a guy like Sam taking it to the next level, creating a sapphire insert or some other incredible thing. And then really, like, to me, I've always been, create a product that is a great product that people don't mind paying for, and that it works, and that it's, not a danger to our health. Because, man, will we look stupid going on for the next 20 years about how medical cannabis is, and then all get weird lung ailments from, like, the different surfaces that we chose to smoke our cannabis from.
I couldn't agree more. I think what is really needed in the pen world is a totally clean slate approach to it. And considering what Mark had to say, that a lot of people buy very expensive concentrates or make them, and then they're putting them inside a device that heats all of them up and destroys a lot of the terpenes before you get a chance to use them. So there's got to be a better way than a really basic heating coil that's going to be able to vaporize your oils, that destroys all the terps before you get a chance to use it. And we've actually been making it since 2012. Some people have found the Hercules as the solution to the problem of having to buy all these replacement cartridges. It does use a plastic shield on the outside. It's a heat temperature resistant PTFE, but unlike that Dabadoo nail we showed, it's not in direct contact with any sort of heated surfaces. This is a stainless steel 316 medical grade stainless steel cartridge that you can take apart yourself, service it indefinitely. The bottom chamber here is just a it's just a method for power to transmit. It's got a gold post, spring-loaded center pin, and our chamber has a ceramic rod. Instead of any wire used inside the Hercules, it has a ceramic rod that heats up. You can take this thing apart yourself. This rod has a warranty for a year. If it breaks, we'll replace it. And when it's inside here,
so what do you have a ceramic rod?
It's AI-203. It has tungsten contact points to allow the electricity to be transmitted.
So you have that wrapped with a thermistor that's basically you're running your electricity through, that's generating heat.
Inside there.
So heat's being transferred on the other side of a, there's a separation between the chamber where the oil is and where that heat is being generated?
What happens, well, this part is just to transfer the electricity through, and then on the top, this is the chamber where the vaporization happens. So around that rod, we have a grade 2 titanium coil. This is like steel wool, like a mesh, but made out of grade 2 titanium. And this goes inside so that you
and that absorbs the oil. So when you load the pen, the oil goes into that mesh area?
Yeah, you put about half a gram for a coil, and it soaks inside of it, and then it bathes the rod so that when you apply power, it all heats up pretty evenly from the inside out.
What's the material of the mesh made out of again?
It's grade 2 titanium.
Grade 2 titanium, which is only titanium metal, so there's no other alloys to it?
Absolutely. Yep. I've got a lab test sheet if you'd like to see the composition.
No. I'm just asking a question. So when you heat up the pen and there's no oil in it, does that little donut get red hot?
Oh yeah, I'll show you.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Let me turn out the lights in here. I'll put this back together and I'll show you how it works.
Okay, while you guys are doing that, I'd like to give a moment, just 5 seconds of quiet, so D420K can say what he came to say.
Bone rip!
Oh, let's do it, buddy.
Let's do this.
Hey, I'm really digging this conversation. That was a beautiful design that you just held up. I'm wondering, a couple of my friends have been really impressed with the quality of the grasshopper vaporizer. Have you managed to pull one of those apart? It seems like those guys are doing.
I have one. I love it.
I can't wait to get my hands on that one. I've been waiting for it for a long time. It looks cool.
Yeah, it seems like it's a pretty good design. That design that you just showed, I love how it came all apart. You were able to.
What is that design, Samurai?
This is called the Hercules cartridge. Etienne, you said you had used the Omicron before, a couple years ago?
Yes. Yes.
So this is another design. This came out. The essential oil cartridge that the Omicron came with was released in about 2008. And so this design's been out for about 4 years. It's been refined a few times to make it easier to take apart and put back together.
So it's called the Hercules?
Hercules oil cartridge, yep. And hopefully we can see it glow.
Is that on the small base or the larger base?
This is actually a vaporizer that we've been making since before the e-cig industry kind of standardized 510 threading. So this has a 601 threading, and people have been using thread adapters to put them on their box mods. But our next production run of them will be coming in a native 510 threading. As soon as Chinese New Year's is over, we can get them made. And
Dude, that's crazy. That's my first vaporizer.
The Omicron?
I stopped at the Persei. I basically learned from your site, and then I bought a Persei with the Hercules, and then I became Horatio and had to get a nail.
Well, definitely. You missed out on the last one. We went Omicron, Persei, and then there's an 8 just to finish out that series. But the Persei is the one that works best for most people. Did you have good luck with the Hercules?
You didn't have the wick at the time. So the wick was a little ball of bud that I would donut, but that was the last key, was the wick. How low temp can you dab? Because for instance, I will not go near a nail that is even attaining any form of color. It should not be at any temp like that. I know that the latest e-cigs, they have temperature control with nickel and weird different metals. Is that something that's in development so people can keep their finger held down on the button, but it won't overdrive into an 800-degree nail in 8 seconds?
Sure. This rod is totally user-controlled, and as you hold down power, it heats up pretty gradually. So I get great flavor with about a 10-second hold, and then after that, you kind of let off and pulse power. As far as temperature control goes, the way that works on the box mod that you're using is the box measures the resistance of the wire, and it calculates the temperature coefficient based on that. And it can do it for different metals like stainless steel or nickel, and it actually can do it with grade 2 titanium. So our coils work with temperature control in your box. Doing the same thing with a ceramic rod is a bit different because the resistance of this rod changes linearly, and it's a lot different than any existing device. But that's what we're working on right now, is a temperature controlled device with our own algorithm to run the Hercules, so you can set it at any temperature and just push it and run it.
Would you literally, because that was the thing, I had a way when walking to the train to you do 8 seconds and let off, and then you tappa, and try to ride this long puffing wave where it stays warm. Would the algorithm basically be you guys all vape and record that? Basically the perfect pattern to keep a low temp perfect hit.
Exactly. It does the pulsing for you. That's exactly how temperature control works on existing box mods. They just do it like a couple hundred times a second. And so, the next power source for the Herc will do the same thing.
Well, I need to shout out Indiana because someone requested it. So shout out to Indiana and that oh-so-yummy bubblegum you guys came up with so many years ago.
Hey, man, my friend Marsh just walked up, man. He's got a company called Sacred Serum, which is really neat. He makes these fucking unbelievable applicators that looks like it looks like something that would be in a girl's cosmetic case is what it looks like. But you open this, And this applicator is stainless steel, right, Marsh?
Yeah, surgical grade 316 stainless steel solid machine, so that when you hold it to the nail, the density doesn't allow the heat to transfer. So it has meter.
Then when you turn this thing, it clicks, and how much comes out per click?
Every 3 clicks is 0.04 of a gram. So you have repeatable dosing over and over again.
And it's awesome. The clicks are really solid, and and then you put it away, and it's clean, and it looks like just nothing in your. It's just awesome, and mostly thin oils, right? CO2 oils right now.
Yeah, we do a specialized tip for butters and waxes, and it actually extrudes out like a little spaghetti noodle. But it's a different tip, and this one is designed for CO2 oils and more liquidier substances.
It's freaking neat. The applicators are really, how we get the oil now is becoming such a big deal, How hard is it to load yours, Sam?
You put this coil in, and then you squish it a little to make interference fit, put it in here, and then load your oil straight into the top. But that applicator, you could stick it right on top, give it a couple clicks, and I bet it would drop right in.
Yeah, that's what, honestly, when you were sitting here talking, that's exactly what I was thinking, Are you here this weekend, or?
No, I'm up in Washington State.
Okay, that's a drive.
I'm up in Portland a lot, so maybe I can get one of these to you, and you can try it out with some of your oil, and I'd love to get some feedback from any of you guys. If you just keep in contact with this guy here, he'll make sure and direct it to me.
Well, I'm not taking on that responsibility, but you can find him in a thing called the internet, and you can find his email somewhere. He's on my community, or he will be. It's that easy.
I have a question.
That was pretty funny. That was funny shit.
Todd, hey, Todd, can you ask him if you can use this for sublingual drops for pediatric Dravet's patients?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's one of the main things. I wanted to provide patients with a non-threatening, non-intimidating device that was discreet and also provided repeatable dosing, because one of the biggest problems and concerns with seniors and pediatrics is that, overdosing, the intimidation.
Are you saying breaking out a torch and like a fucking multi-$1,000 glass fragile rig is intimidating to an older person in a basically retirement home?
I better think about that.
I'm not sure. I can't believe that.
I better
Mark,
think.
Do you think that would be a problem?
No, I really like the medical grade sort of cannabis pipette that he's got there. I think Tony would be interested with the terpenes as well.
It's brilliant. The first time he handed me one, I was actually just smitten with it, and when I saw him walking up, looking at the gate, trying to figure out when it was going to open, I figured I would yell over and say, "Come here."
Can you set the adjust the dose size?
Well, what happens is it pushes out. It's like a. I'm destroying it. Is what I'm doing. No,
I pulled the tip out too far.
You're destroying pens and devices today on Hash Church.
Oh, I like it. This is the one we show off to people. Yeah. So each click actually pushes out only so much oil. So you don't really. It's not like these cheesy syringes where you like can overdo it. It's like click, 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 and you get the same amount.
What's the volume of that single dose of oil?
You can put 1 to 2 grams is what we recommend in there. And then let's say if 3 clicks is 0.04, then 1 click would be approximately 0.013. So you can really get, and if you know how many milligrams are in if you have, let's say 50%, then you have 500 milligrams, and you can do the math then, and you can tell them exactly how many milligrams per click that they're getting.
And how many clicks they need.
You know the oil. Yeah, you got to know the product before you really know your dosing. But this is a great doser.
Excellent. Hey, I want to welcome D420K and Chimera to the room. Over 1,000 viewers we just jumped over to. Not too shabby. Cannabis Cup still hasn't opened. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing good, man. I got Jake and Gayleen in the house with me. They brought down some awesomeness for us, this last trip. Some little cultivars from them. I know you love those, buddy. I know you love those.
Yeah, it's just so nice to have plants in the tent again. It was just really brought a smile to my face. I'm always happy to see those guys, though. They're
nice, clean, healthy plants. Right?
Yeah, they look great.
Yeah, no problem. We're gonna go to a French restaurant for brunch this morning.
Oh, for brunch? How are you going for brunch?
We're all about the food and the hash, of course. So we're gonna go have brunch. We just thought we'd jump on and do a quick bong rip. And look at Johnny B, fucking loving it. No more vibrations. You know, the day after we went in to see him of his surgery, the guy's got his pen in his hand, a smile on his face. He looks like he felt better than he did any other time I seen him. Literally fucking night and day difference, eh, Johnny?
It was night and day, definitely. I know a few people asked, and I'll just do quickly. You know what? My surgery was a C3 to C6 fusion with a C4, C5 lyonectomy. So they took out my C4 and C5, and I'm fused. And when they took out the pressure from my spinal cord, it was totally, like Darrin said, my vibrations went away. I really then truly realized that I was saying this morning how much cannabis was so much of medicine and got me through the time after the surgery. And what Mark was talking about in the morning in my consumption. But yeah, I feel great, guys, and that's what happened, and I have an awesome recovery. Horatio dropped me off with this LHO cream, transdermal creams I'm using in the morning. I could definitely feel them. They're working because I get a lot of pain on the side of my neck. The first few days were great. They gave me some morphine. I did it their way. They took out major surgery, so you kind of listen to what the doctors say for the first couple of days, and after that, I've been home. It's been cannabis, creams, recovery, and I'm just like a new man, guys. Thanks. Awesome.
You can definitely tell you're not on morphine.
Oh, no, not at all. Yeah. I haven't had it for days. Like when I got home, that was it, right? So it was in the hospital. They gave me like 5 mils. They even said I barely took anything. I'm refusing it. But they took my amino acids and natural supplements away from me because they didn't know what they were. But whatever.
Well, we're pretty happy for you, Johnny. When we come in there, it was awesome. But we're going to sign out real quick here. I just want to do one more bong rip to the world.
D420K and gone, Jake.
I'm going to grab some Horatio.
Everybody watching, load your bongs. Bong, mother-loving rip, boys and girls.
All right, I'm pulling out the West Coast concentrate. Although, geez, yeah, I should. Bubba. Hey, Bubba. Looks okay, huh?
Well, that West Coast concentrates is absolute fire.
A little bit of bobble hash.
A little bit of terp dipping with those bong reps. Holy
dip, bong.
I can't do the double dip on it. It's too strong. It fucks me up.
Nope.
Everybody, peace and hash and love to the world, and we will see you next week. We're going to eat some French brunch.
Why don't visit D?
Take it easy, guys.
I'm going for the month of February.
I will. I'll be seeing you soon, Johnny.
Bon appetit, Darrin.
Thank you, sir.
What are you puffing on there, Johnny B?
I have these HDC LHO live terps Trainwreck Cross ACDC. Pretty much they taste really awesome. Just thanks, Horatio. You know what? I got home from the hospital, and the first person here was Horatio with meds for me. He brought the cream, and he brought these two things for me. Like, the support I got from everybody was amazing. Every day, dude, and thank you.
Wow. Sorry for coughing while you're talking. Another thing I'd like to say, Johnny B, when you came in today, it was the first time, I think, in all of the hash churches that your mic was working perfectly, your camera was working perfectly. It's literally like the operation fixed your computer, too.
Well, you know what? When you have that much going on in the back of your brain with pain and stuff like that, I was always so distracted, and I forgot a lot. People, it's hard to really explain to people what you're going through and how pain really controls your life. And I think you, as a good friend, Mark, really saw what was going on with me and really understood it and gave me that little break to kind of. I couldn't stay still. I couldn't be in hash church. I couldn't sit here this long. I was up and down. It was driving you crazy. I couldn't stay still. You're laughing. I mean, things happen for reasons, and I kind of, and now I'm not like that, so I'm able to be more involved, and I just feel better, and it's definitely things work better. You know, everything's just kind of like new net, new plants.
Yeah, new plants.
New 2016. You know, it's just it's the year for cannabis. I say the year to grow your own. Everybody's got to plant a seed for 2016. Everybody's got to plant a seed. I don't care who you are, plant a seed. Plant a seed of life. Plant a seed of joy. Just understand that plant is so much. I mean, it's been such an inspiration for me, and I all I want to do is tell everybody how much it worked for me, and that was my biggest thing for my injuries. And hey, this just works. And yeah, grow your own, guys.
Important seeds that you've planted, John, are seeds of knowledge.
Yeah, you know what? This is a seed right here. Hash Church has put a good seed in this whole world. It's been a great thing.
It's certainly growing.
Hey, Chad's back. Chad, are we going to talk a little bit about distillates and THC crystallization?
I got some pure CBD distillate right here.
Which one?
This is CBD made from hemp.
Ah, hemped.
Interesting.
How's that working on your pain?
It really it just levels you out. I'm not going to say it's a great like huge pain thing for me. It's like a refreshing kind of thing. It's I don't think it's pure CBD. I know there's a little bit of THC in it through the conversion. Something's going on with that. But you know, every CBD plant that I've tried, from Haley's to all of these different strains, ACD, they all have that same flavor. They're saying they get there's still that flavor, even if it's supposed to be a distillate. I'm still getting that terp flavor of CBD. So there's still more research on it. It's I know Horatio's got some pretty good stuff coming out. I've tried his terpenes that are just amazing. You can actually, that's what I was talking about in the hospital. And Horatio before that, a week before that, well, the terpenes are such a major role in modulating pain with everything. I could take the terpene dip from the CBD that Horatio had, and we mixed that with TCA, and he didn't get that high. He just kind of just went. It's interesting.
I just went through and muted everyone's mic because I heard this weird like, and then I think it was either on yours or mine. The only two mics I didn't mute. Oh, shite. We got 1,000 people watching right now being inspired by Johnny B's story. Back in the house, everyone's like, Johnny B looks so alive, I could cry. Well, that's Johnny B's thing. He's inspiring people on the regular. I've definitely never visited anyone in the hospital after, like, usually when you visit someone in the hospital after, like, a spinal surgery, it's usually like they just got hurt, and now they're kind of coping with maybe not walking or, you know, not having the same motion of, you know, the way I'm sure you went through, John, when you first fell your 30 feet.
Oh, I was in the hospital for a long time, and the recovery was years, 5.
Well, they get you so hard, right? They get you with this, like, you're in the hospital, which is pretty depressing. They pump you full of zombie-like drugs, which is very depressing. And then
it's like...
And then you have to think about the things like, will I ever walk? Am I going to be able to move normal? Am I going to have like pain in my body for the rest of my life? It's incredible that cannabis could just take on all of that and come out victorious.
I mean, there's a lot more to just that, because when I did fall, don't forget, this was WorkSafe BC, and 18 months later, they pulled the rug out for me. They said I only had 3 injuries, broken neck, broken arm, told me to grab a newspaper, get a job. The cannabis community saved me. It was that whole 2006 to 2016, the last 10 years, my involvement, my volunteer work, working in the lab with Dr. Hornby and understanding how the decarboxylation worked for my pain, finding about amino acids, meeting my ex-wife who was an RN nurse and taught me that medical end of the pharmaceutical drugs and how we could do it with amino acids, and then progressively moving forward to where we are today with the education and really truly understanding how cannabis. I've learned so much with mine over the last 10 years, how it's so needed in the medical system. It's amazing. It's like it's amazing that we're not where we are today. Anyways.
Awesome.
Sometimes you lose track of what you're talking about because you're just so excited about this plant.
Well, it's exciting stuff. We'll see where it goes in the next 5 years. I think it's the most exciting thing is that it's been so prohibited, and that so much has still been learned about it, and that it has such a rich history throughout, mankind, that it's a very exciting time to be alive and to be able to be a part of this experience of watching cannabis kind of grow up from finally, whatever you want to say, like whether it's been a toddler or whether it's been a teenager for too long. It just needs to be pushed into to adulthood and see the actual scene itself.
It's exciting that it's, we've watched it. Look what we've done with Prohibition. Imagine once Prohibition is lifted and the other creative and business people and the other unique ideas that will come forth as more people come and get involved. That's what's exciting.
It's really nice seeing you, Johnny, make a recovery. You're a great ambassador for what cannabis can do for people in pain, and I wish you the best in your recovery, man.
Respect, Kamara. Thank you very much. I just respect you and everybody on this panel. You guys are all, everybody here. We educate and respect with everybody here and all the people that are listening and watching. I couldn't do it without any one of you and all of you. Everybody's been such part of my recovery and understanding and educating. Tony, Mark, Todd, all of you guys. Mark, I've had so many good conversations. Mark Scialdone, Etienne. Everybody's kind of gave me that little bit to get to where I am, and now we're giving that to everybody else, which is even better. It's just awesome.
Yeah, it's really nice to see. I know we're all doing our own thing, and often people in this cannabis world, they get caught up in ego, but it's really nice to see, like, you bringing it back home and back to the plant where people can just see, what it does for people that are in pain. And, we wish you the best.
Especially when you think of how many people are in pain out there, it's like, I'm telling you. And the way, the road, the alternative is such a deeply saddening road to take that just erodes your will and your emotion.
Right. And they're thrown down that road on top of their illness. And that's the frustrating thing, because now you have to confront whether you have an addictive personality, how addictive are these drugs that you're on, can you even afford these drugs, how long will you be able to maintain yourself? And so you're immediately thrown into not only just one road, you're thrown into multiple roads with various forks down them. Do I continue to take this medication? What alternatives are out there? We had to find it ourselves. It's not like, when I was recommended it by a doctor when I was in Germany going through rehab in the military, there was no place to go find hash. When he recommended using cannabis to get off morphine, good fucking luck. So, advances we've made over time, because each one of us have had our own, road to travel, and it's been each one of us trailblazing in our own right. So there's really not been many people ahead of us as much as we just had to find what we could, and then once we found the medicine, what did we do? We wanted to share it with others and share knowledge, because if it worked for us, it potentially worked for you. And then when we see it on somebody else too, that's why I do it, and it's my life and risk my freedom for it, because as a patient myself, I see it. When you actually experience it, when you've actually been down that path, you want to, or I found myself wanting to, as a penance from my own world, to try to as many people as I can that do. So I'd rather do my best, to try to help people, so that I'm at least useful in this world, because I've always felt guilty over my work.
Hey, welcome Tony to the room, and I just realized it was something Big Samson said on Facebook yesterday, that this is the Super Bowl edition of Hash Church. So I think we should all load up a Super Bowl, and that'll be how we make it the Super Bowl edition. Because I don't play football, or I'm not into football, and for all of you that are into football, I hope your team wins today, or at least plays an exciting game. And let's have a Super Bowl.
Here's a question for you, Mark.
I
Who's
want
playing in the Super Bowl this year?
Who's playing? Okay, I do know one team. I think I might look like an idiot, but I'm almost certain because my friend Dredd on Facebook, he's posting going to the Super Bowl, and it's like the Broncos, right?
I don't know.
Huh? Oh shit!
Broncos and Carolina.
What?
The Denver Broncos and the Carolina Panthers.
Right? Okay, I had no idea about the other team, but I'm going to hit this sweatband 73U that my friend Phil made, and oh my god, I don't know, for those of you that may or may not have seen this, it was a photo I took yesterday while making a full melt video, and it's basically me reflecting. I hope I can make it clear. Come on.
Tell me that doesn't look like a donut. Come on.
Well, it is kind of a donut. Oh, there we go. Oh, it just grabbed.
Oh, he got glazed. He got very
Canadian. It's a Canadian donut. Come on.
It's a sapphire insert.
Bubbleman in the bubbles in the hat.
Bubble donut.
Which is a 73, right? That was 73 micron?
Yes, and all I'm saying is I've never seen that in all my life of taking macro photographs, 10 years or whatever. That blew me away yesterday when I realized I was reflecting in the bubbles. And you can see it on the channel as well. The last video I uploaded, it's this hash right here. It's got a kind of Parmesan-y, really nice flavor, True Genetics. My buddy Phil. Thanks again, Phil.
It makes you live up to your moniker, Marcus.
More so than ever.
You're truly the bubble man when you can be seen inside the bubble.
Dude, I'm telling you. Listen, if I was trying to capture that,
you would never get it.
I don't think I ever could have. And even people that are like, yeah, that's a great shot, I think they're like secretly going, how the fuck?
No way.
Those bubbles are there for literally 0.000132 seconds.
Well, you can look at those bubbles because those bubbles are carbon dioxide being released, right? As your stuff's decarbing. Think of it this way: that's captured sunlight because through the miracle of photosynthesis, this plant basically made this molecule, and you're basically releasing energy that was captured. It was captured sunlight. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and on that decarboxylation, not many people realize that was going on. But.
Oh no, people know about decarb.
Well, I know, but you don't realize that that's the bubbling until you actually do a purge. You know.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. So the phenomenon, yeah. It's also the reason why crack cocaine blows up like a Rice Krispie, right? Because you're basically neutralizing a hydrochloride with the carbonate salt, and because carbonic acid is not stable at room temperature, it spontaneously gives off carbon dioxide, which is the crazy, vinegar, acetic acid, baking soda.
When terpenes are bubbling like crazy like that, it's not only the cannabinoids decarboxylating, it's also the terpenes themselves violently
evaporating,
vaporizing. Yes, yeah. Exactly. So it's a combination.
Yeah, but
the higher the terpene content is in these things, the more it will bubble. In fact, with dry sipped and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I remember being in Czech Republic and at a lab there, and we were doing an alcohol purge, an ethanol purge on some CBD flowers that we'd extracted, and when you do it with a thermometer in your mixture, and you start measuring what's coming, you can really see what's coming off at what temperatures. And when you boil, when you go from say 80 degrees Celsius up to 110, you can actually see where the ethanol comes out and then it stops boiling, and then the water comes out at around 100 and it stops boiling, and then about 107 it starts to bubble up again as it's decarboxylating. Anyway.
Science.
Yeah, a little science.
So how are things, Tony? What are you showing there? Was that a little Cuban?
Well, I started my Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. Okay, tell me about your Super Bowl.
My Super Bowl is taking the first, second, and third place winners and the collection of all of the donations that were given to me over the course of this cup so far, and putting them into one bowl. and then smoking them. This is going to be part 1. Hopefully I can make part 2, where I'm actually going to go to the try to go to the actual event.
Make sure that the fire alarm is covered if you're going to do that. Make sure the fire alarm's covered in there before you do that.
Oh yeah, I'm right by the window, so if they give me a fire alarm, that I don't know, you know, I'll have to deal with it when that happens. But yeah, so I'm trying to go over to the event because there's a that Puffco pen I was telling you about. There's a new prototype that I'm going to send everyone that's a panelist on Hash Church. The new, which is a non-coil bowl. It's kind of a it's kind of like just a hole in your bowl, just a bowl, and the bowl heats up from different sides in the bottom and stuff. And Roger over there, he wanted everyone on the panel to actually try it. So I actually saw it yesterday, and I wanted to get my hands on it because I wanted to see how good it was going to work with this Sour D full melt that I have.
And we had a long conversation today about pens, actually, Tony. Not sure if you were able to check it out, but it was we had a guy come in here named Sam, and he was sharing with us just pulling the pens apart and finding the glues and the wires and the lower grade materials that are being made. It'd be great to hear from Roger telling us, you know, kind of about his pen. I have heard a lot of good things about him. It seems like he's probably cognitive and aware of all of these negative aspects. He's probably designed a much safer pen so that in behind that dish there's not like glue and wires and low grade.
It looked like to me yeah, and I agree, and that's what I wanted to do. I was listening to you guys earlier, and he won like best vapor pen. I mean, I like mine. It has 3 different settings on it and things, but really what was coming down to it was getting away from the coil and getting a bowl in which can be easily cleaned out, and then you can drop your full melt into it or whatever extracts, but specifically full melt. I haven't found a pen that works really well for that yet because they all have coils. So I'm eager as you are to try it. I saw it, and I will try to make it over there to get him to explain it. I'm just looking at the time where we're at. Yeah, you guys might be on till 1 o'clock. It's a Super Bowl event, don't you think?
It's quite possible, absolutely. Todd's down at the event right now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's searching people's bags. He's set up an entrance. He's got a table, and he's searching everyone's bags that go in to make sure their hash is good enough.
If remember, he said there's got to have a certain amount of sample if you give him sample, because otherwise it turns into a pinner joint. So remember that, people.
1.6 grams. If I'm correct, was it 1.6 grams, Todd?
Yeah. Shout out to Aaron at DNA. DNA gave me a bud that is totally rollable. He actually gave me a bunch of bud. I can't lie. He gave me a big hug, and he obviously knows how to roll joints because I don't know what to do with half a gram of bud. I say thank you, but I just don't know what to do with it. It looks like a big bong rip from the 90s.
Make a long cardboard filter on it, Todd.
You know, I don't like filters on my joints. I like them just like Dad used to smoke Camels, like unfiltered. It was horrible, but I think I like my joints like he liked his.
It's not really a filter. It's just a rolled up piece of cardboard that makes it so that half of the joint is a cardboard filter. But it's
but I think that the filter steps on the taste of the weed. Am I crazy?
Maybe, but use hemp cardboard.
Or coming soon from Blue River Extracts, terpene-soaked cardboard filters.
Just gonna say, yeah.
Wow, that's a concept.
No, it's not. It's the terrible joke. Now let's get back to the Super Bowl.
I have my Super Bowl packed.
All right, listen. My Super Bowl could literally be some Sweatband, some Bubba, some OG 73, some OG full spec, some Pink Kush 73, some Pink Kush full spec, and then, oh my God, I'd have to actually find the list to figure out what all these are because I can't even really remember. And he's got codes on them.
Wait a minute. Now, are you sure that a super duper bowl is better?
Super duper bowl? No, just the Super Bowl. Okay, here's the dry sifts I'm hitting. Purple God crossed with green crack dry sift. God Bud clone variety from BC sift. Purple God clone variety from BC sift. And then sift, ice wax, and rosin of strawberry banana DNA Crockett 420 and Serious Seeds collaboration. Morinanga Fino, single source from seed. DNA Kushberry, cold stored since mid-2013, single source from seed, Fino no longer in circulation. And some VC crossed with SD, which is Moxie's Viper cookies, Forum cut Girl Scout cookies, crossed with Viper OG, mixed with DNA's sour diesel, single source from seed. Give thanks to the concentrated X and the West Coast concentrate. Oh, give thanks. That sounds like a Super Bowl, doesn't it? Oh, and then, if that's not good enough, Buddy took the strawberry banana, like 73 micron, full melt, 6-star, like ridiculous bubble hash, and squeezed it into some rosin. Just in case that wasn't. Hey, John, did you want me to come by or what? Here, let's see if I can show this. This is ridiculous. Sorry for all the hash under my fingernails, but I've been playing with hash. So there we go. 6-star full melt pressed into rosin.
That's pretty.
Yeah, it's extremely pretty. Chad, is your mic working yet? Have we been able to? Because we tried saying hi to you last time. I don't know if your shit was.
Is it working?
I can hear you, dude.
Can you hear me?
Welcome to Hash Church. Thanks for being tenacious.
Great to be here.
Yeah, you were going to share some things.
Yeah, well, the crystalline THCA is blowing up in Southern California, I guess. People are quite interested in it. So,
yeah.
I guess.
Sorry.
I guess I should just go over basically my simple discovery.
Yeah, yeah.
Last fall, discovered how to form large crystals from a dissolved solution of THCA from butane, and just trying to share it with everyone and make sure that it's out in the open.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
It's coming from me. If you put a piece of that pure THCA on your tongue, does it have any taste at all?
No, I mean, like, once you remove what's called mother liquor contamination from the outside of it by washing it with a cold solvent and drying it, you're left with a very pure crystal, and there's no flavor, there's no taste involved with it at all.
That
So
sounds
it's
like
very pure.
that sounds like THC or THCA. It has absolutely zero taste.
Is there a co-crystallization solvent that you're adding to the butane to crash it out?
Well, it's I would say that the main solvent that is responsible for the crystallization is the terpenes, not so much the butane. It's just the process that I'm using right now is to make my oil is butane, so that's how I dissolve everything, right? So you could potentially dissolve the THCA with terpenes, such as lemon.
You're not adding an additional solvent, just to be clear. There's no additional solvent.
No.
Okay.
Just butane.
Cool. So is it a low and slow process?
Yes, it's that's the main process is time, right? Is slow evaporation.
Well, do you want to tell everyone how you're doing it?
Well, basically, I mean, it's I've discovered it based on not having enough vacuum oven space for purging all my butane. So when you don't have enough space, you have to collect it somehow and store it. So in goes a mason jar with all your oil, and basically I just left it on the counter and 2 weeks later, came back to it, and it's full of large crystals. It was a, stupid, simple discovery, basically by chance. I mean, it's amazing no one else has really discovered this either yet. So, I mean, what else can you do but share it?
And I have a question for you, and that is, if you smoke a measured amount, whether it's 25 milligrams or 50 milligrams or whatever, do you get higher than smoking terpene-rich dry sipped or things like that?
I would say it hits quicker. I mean, it definitely hits quicker and stronger than, in my opinion. Once you add terpenes to it, it makes the high a lot different. I mean, it slows down the onset and adds all the subtleties that we all love and know, right? So, pure THCA is it's its own experience, but it's not for everyone. It's, like people often say, describe it like drinking a pure Everclear or something. It's not commonly done.
That's how I would describe it.
Are you having it tested?
It's been tested. It's been tested by a very professional laboratory in Canada up here, and I've shared the results online.
What kind of test did you have done?
ULPC is what they used.
Okay, and what's the purity by HPLC?
It was 96% cannabinoids, I believe around 94% THCA. But I mean,
so it's only 94% pure. I thought you said it was 100%.
Yeah, what's the rest?
There was a miscommunication with the laboratory. They were supposed to do extensive testing with it, but basically only did their MMPR standardized test. So they took the whole gram, from what I understand, which was, like I said, the mother liquor on the outside of the crystals was still there. I was gonna explain to them, to do
what temperature does the crystalline material melt? What is the melting point of the material?
Well, I shared that as well. I shared some photos. It was a crude test just on a vacuum chamber type oven situation, and they didn't melt till 130 degrees centigrade. So quite high, way above the literature's melting point. So it's like I said, most of the contaminant is on the surface area and slight nucleation contaminants with physical contaminants. But if you recrystallize it through simple recrystallization procedures, your purity will obviously go way up. And
what's your recrystallization solvent?
I use butane just because of its low boiling point. It's easy to get rid of all of it. I haven't reformed large single crystals yet, just very crystalline.
What is the purity after you've recrystallized it?
I have not yet had that tested.
Yeah, it's pretty standard in lab testing that the lab just tests what you give them, and you want them to rinse it off. I mean,
for sure, I know it was a miscommunication. It was a miscommunication for sure.
Yeah, but you got to be aware that or a good lab should just test what you give them, because that's what their service is, to tell you what.
I know.
Yeah. Is that the lab on the island?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm hesitant to say them just because they're kind of in the gray area.
It would be interesting to have them to do it again and have them run another sample.
No, I've got a bunch of tests that I'm setting up. Not cheap.
Have you tried Wagon Wheel? Have you had them test your stuff yet?
No, I've just heard of them. I haven't looked into them yet. The guys on the island, though, they're using really good equipment, and they're doing MMPI type clients, so I trust them a little bit more. I don't know.
So when the material melts, can you cool it back down and it re-solidifies into a crystalline solid, or does it just turn into a white waxy solid?
It's an amorphous glass type substance.
It's amorphous. So is it tacky to the touch? Does it leave a residue?
It's glass. It's like a shattered glass, but very clear and pure.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I mean, this sounds like, no different than anyone who's ever had a material sugar out on you. I mean, yeah, when THCA reaches a certain concentration, it becomes a low energy pathway for those crystals to align themselves in a lattice. And when that lattice energy is attainable, you know, it's a low energy pathway that these molecules will find each other. And certainly, if there's other materials that are in there that are, if it's sort of like a semi-solid, like you could see a solid that's in there, but it's not really, like there's also kind of like a liquid phase, because a lot of materials, again, the purity ultimately of the material should be, it's a water white crystal. There should be really hardly no color to it at all. It should almost be as white as snow.
Well, does it look anything like the THCA crystalline I posted the photos of in the hash church group? That was 99.67%.
Right, Todd, I'm actually using that in my mind as sort of like a reference point to what
It's a good reference point. It's the cleanest stuff I've ever seen.
Right.
The guild guys are using the same technique that I shared.
Like a quartz crystal.
No, but the intriguing thing of what I'm hearing today is that these are large crystals, you say, and large crystals usually indicate a very high degree of purity. And so I guess the question would be is this reproducible from cultivar to cultivar? Have you tried a different extractor? Does it still do the same? You see the same behavior reproducible time and time again to make these large crystals?
Yeah, the cultivar does not matter. It's more about the consistency of the solution. And to get the proper consistency, you need the right terpene mixture.
Which extractor?
I mean, some varieties have to naturally.
Are you using a closed loop extractor?
Yeah.
Okay. Could you are you at liberty to say like what brand of extractor you're using?
It's I built it myself through Skunk Farms.
Okay. Cool.
Chad, can I clear something up? I read on ICMag the THCA crystallization form. There was a post about basically leaving, after basically pulling your closed loop, taking a percentage of your oil and putting that in a mason jar for storage. Is that basically the tech you're talking about and people should be looking up?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's my post.
Okay, well that makes it a lot easier because some people might not be able to hear this clearly or
wait till the mason jar people find out. Here we go, turkey bag economics 101.
Mason jar people already know because freezers already blow up with mason jars full.
I gotta go to the Walmart, get myself a hair straightener and a mason jar, man. I'll be right back.
You basically want to minimize the solvents involved. I mean, I remove most of the butane in the solution in the closed loop system before I scrape or pour the solution into a jar. So I mean, there's very little butane. There is butane there, but it's very little compared to like.
Leave the lid on and burp it like a Tupperware container or something, or do you just leave it open?
I've left it completely open, and I've used headspace techniques where I close it and open it over time.
Are you venting the area so you make sure that you don't get a buildup of butane in a confined space? I would.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to be very aware and careful with your butane for sure all the time.
And what size mason jar are you using?
You wanna make sure that your solution is not shallow. You want to have a proper depth to diameter ratio so that it doesn't just precipitate and fall out easily. You want to have a deep, viscous solution so that your crystals can properly form largely without precipitating into smaller crystalline type crystals.
And
so
when you covered the jars, you didn't use the regular mason jar cover with the plastic thing there, did you?
I flipped it upside down so that the silicone or plastic little thing wasn't exposed.
Yeah. Just good not to put that in actually touching, and the solvent will eat that shit up pretty good.
Yeah. No, you wanna make sure everything's clean and sterile. It could be a lot. This is definitely ghetto check type situation that I'm doing, but can be upped with stainless or glass type materials.
Right.
Terpenes
As
will
far as
also
I know,
help.
the guild extract guys, just to comment on some chat here on Tony and what people are commenting from Guild Extracts at the top there. I can't say for sure that they're doing 100% what I did, but they're my only Instagram followers. When I first shared this and we had a conversation, that they thanked me for sharing the technique. I'm sure they're using it, and I'm sure they're probably recrystallizing it. What solution or solvent they're using to do that with, I'm not sure. But to get that purity up there, there's no reason not to recrystallize it. It's a simple extra step, and it ensures that your purity is in that 99 range for sure. So
well, it's definitely
it's very cool.
It's definitely when somebody hits 99.96% in anything, it's definitely an inspiration for anyone that makes any kind of extract, and my hat's off to that. We tried to do it.
It's very simple. It's a function of crystallization itself. It's the surface area to volume ratio and how the crystal lattice and molecules form. Mark Scialdone, I'm sure, can explain it way more and knows all about it more than I do. But it's just a function of crystallization itself. So once people are aware of how to just form crystals themselves from a dissolved solution, this purity is going to be pretty standard out there. So.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I'm
gonna step in and say, I think it's cool that you're doing the science, but that kind of product I don't think should just be on the market without proper testing of the, proper testing of what's coming out. Like you said, you're not exactly sure what's in the entire mixture, and there's safety issues involved with production and all that kind of stuff, and I'm sure you take care in what you're doing, but at the same time, we're on a public channel here that's 10,000 people viewing, and I would venture to say that most of the people that are watching are not qualified to be doing this kind of extract, and this type of shit should be regulated. You're talking about making pure compounds. That's bordering on line of what the pharmaceutical industry does, and there's a whole shitload of regulations that go along with those for good reason, So I don't know. I don't mean to be a bummer, but I'm just saying.
No, I don't think you're being a bummer. It's a valid point, It's an absolutely valid point, and I just like the idea of being able to have the discussion about people are doing this and people are wondering about it. We're not necessarily saying people should go and do it, but just having the conversation as to what it is that people are doing to get these products, because they're out there. They're on Instagram. Everyone wants them. The hottest booth at the Cannabis Cup. They're giving away pure terpene modulated THC dabs or whatever. And I'm in the same boat. As to make it available as a product, yeah, it should be completely regulated, and all that shit should be looked at very deeply. At the same time, to be able to have a conversation. I don't support, Todd can back me up on this, I never generally support using, butane to make my extracts. But I had an interest in understanding what it was that he was doing, because he said, look, it's super simple. I'm not trying to promote it like I invented it. It's common knowledge in certain scientific worlds, like DMT forums. Crystallization is very common in the DMT forums. So I think it's just a conversation more than anything. We're certainly not telling people to go out and put jars of butane. I don't support or say that you should go and make oil even with a closed loop system. Yet Todd can come on and has come on and said, hey, if it's done correctly, and I agree with that. So we're all adults here. We have to just understand that it's more of a discussion than go do it. But I, for one, am happy to have a slight understanding of how it's done, whereas I will never go and put butane-soaked cannabinoids into a jar and wait for it to crystallize. I do like the idea of finding out if it's available to do with the rosin process or something else that doesn't involve dangerous chemicals. But 100% back you up on the facts that people doing science in their basements should probably make sure everything's tested really good before they make it available as a product, just like any company would.
Yeah.
Most people.
and think about Colorado. Colorado's you can do butane extracts, but there's a shitload of regulations that go along with it, and they can make sure that your room's safe and all that kind of stuff, you know. California, it's just straight up illegal to be, if you're doing extractions using butane, you're essentially cooking a meth lab. So I don't know if Canada's really addressed that, and then you get into the sticky MMAR versus whatever, but it's a slippery slope, and I think it's really cool to be making these pure compounds with THC. You're isolating THC, but
can I say two things as a practicing chemist, please? Sorry, Chimera, to cut you off, but this is really just a discussion of whether or not it's okay to have a mason jar somewhere off-gassing butane and flammables, and obviously you don't have that in your office, you don't have that in your house or anywhere where there's people. That can only be done in a fume cupboard where basically the fume hood is rated to take that much effluent because you've paid the state DER, whatever you have to pay to make sure that you have a permit that you could send that much stuff up in the air. So that's the only place that this can be practiced. You can't practice this anywhere else. If you're practicing this anywhere else, you're really taking unnecessarily safety risks, because we all know butane's flammable. You just can't have mason jars off-gassing butane all over your production place. That's just an unsafe practice. However, what's really cool is the rate of crystallization seems to be really kind of generating these really large crystals, which become very, very pure, which might be a very interesting way of looking at ways of, again, purifying the medicine, as you say, Chimera. To me, part of what Hash Church can do is promote the notion that this is a medicine, and let's face it, what he's getting in large crystalline form is the medicine that's in the plant. It's perfectly okay to be innovating at this level, to be able to try to find new ways and new methods to purify the medicine from the plant. I just think it needs to be said, too, that a butane extractor is an order of magnitude less dangerous than the gas grills that everyone has in the back of their house, which is a propane tank hooked up to an igniter, okay? And a propane tank hooked up to an igniter is much, much more dangerous than a herbal butane extractor, okay? So let's just not blow things out of proportion. Let's really be sensible, because, again, we are addressing a large audience of people. And I think this is really cool tech, but I think it has to be said that it is a safety concern to just have an off-gassing mason jar that's
one half the conversation. That's the manufacturing side, and then we can geek out on the fact that you can make these cool little crystals of THC. But the reality is, man, we're talking about a medical market in most cases, and it's one thing you're making this stuff and smoking it yourself, but if you're selling to fucking dispensaries and you don't know what's in it, then I have a real problem with that, and I'm going to say it every fucking time. I'm sorry.
It's being sold at dispensaries anyway as the clear, and here you've taken something, the clear, which is difficult to handle and sticky, and made it into something that's easier to handle because it's a crystalline solid. So it is an innovation in that you're making something that's harder to handle a little bit easier to handle.
Hey, what's up,
As a chemist, that's an innovation.
Soma and Rick in the house.
Yes.
What's up, man? Nice. Good to see you guys. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. I missed you.
That's awesome. Hash Church 72, and they make the special appearance.
Good to see you.
I read something about Eldon. I read something about Eldon when I was reading about this. Did you already talk about Eldon?
No, that was a post I made for next episode, because it's
for next episode.
It's Hash Church 73.
Okay.
It was kind of like the first great bag.
Because Eldon was a really good friend of mine.
Yes, I know.
What year did you know him, Soma? Because I knew him in 1965.
Wait, I recognize that voice. I recognize that voice, man. I met Eldon in 1997.
Okay. Yep. I knew him a lot.
19 years ago, I met him.
Yep.
Well, I'll tell you one thing about Eldon. He was the only person, I'm pretty sure, that I ever gave a free ticket to the Legends of Hash party.
He gave me this wand that he had made in Nepal.
Sick.
Yeah, he used to go to Nepal a lot.
Yeah, he lived there for quite a while, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, can I just interrupt and say something?
Hey, Todd.
I want to say hi, Soma.
Hey, Todd.
Hi, Soma. So good to see you.
Hey, how's your neck, man? How you doing there? Are you doing okay?
I'm doing fabulous, Soma. Thank you.
Good. Good. Nice.
You know, and I got John and Joe with me from Smash Extracts.
Awesome.
What's going on, guys? You've seen them on Hash Church?
Hey, welcome, guys. Welcome.
Thank you.
Tony's rocking the Smash.
Nice.
By any chance, did you guys happen to know that Smash was the very first hash oil, or was actually weed oil from Mexico, that was ever made in '67?
Wait, who is this? Who is this speaking right now?
That's Skunkman Sam.
That's Sam the Skunkman, Soma.
Oh, no, I know.
Just clarifying with you.
Right, but I was just wondering if they knew they named their company Smash after this. There was a product named Smash in 1967, the first hash oil ever produced. Actually, weed oil.
Interesting. There you go. History from Skunkman Sam. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that they had no idea that that was the case, but it is possible. It's cool that you know.
No way. I'm going to say no way.
What's up, Tony?
How you doing, Rick and Soma?
Good. Nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you, bro. I tried your terps. I like that red Congo and that green dragon. Whoa, bro, them terps are crazy.
It's bright in your mouth, right?
Awesome. Well, we did some. It really mixed well with the Samari and the Tangi. Just insane.
Well, I'm glad that I finally could touch you from afar.
Terp touch.
Terp touch.
Terp hat tipper. Real.
So yeah, I say Bubbleman, give me about 30 days and I'll have like 99% crystal rosin for you.
There you go. Yeah, perfect. See, that's what I'm saying right there. Then we can go on Hash Church and be like, hey, just do it with rosin. You don't have to fucking be off gas and dangerous gas. In air and invisible, and will like float around your feet and then ignite you in flames. It's probably just best to pass up on all that.
Well, I think that anytime you do anything that you are making into that crystalline form, I think he has a valid point. And I think there's valid points on both sides, you know. When you get to a certain point and there's no footprint left and you're just left with pure crystal, I mean, that's as much as direct medicine as you can get, but it's how you get there. So there's safety concerns there, you know. The extractor is one thing, but filling jars up with butane.
Also, two-tone. We both know that the entourage effect with terpenes is going to make pure THC better for many indications. So it really depends what your end goal is. If THC is beneficial for you, pure THC, then I say go for it, as long as it's pure and safe.
Yeah, it's just how you get there, you know. And there's just safety things. There was a lot of things where people were storing a lot of jars at a time, and that could get scary and things.
Yeah, no, that doesn't sound safe at all.
But he did make a valid point though, because I did in the stuff that I work in, I found that utilizing like rosin and terpenes in different pressures and temperatures creates this crystalline structure and forms of what I've been working with. So I just need to see how pure I can get it, and then start testing it and see if it actually can hit that high.
I never saw dry sift, for example, that was over the low 80s. And by dry sift, I'm talking about 99.9 resin head dry sift. I never saw it over the low 80s. So, yeah, 96 or 99, that's just incredible. But I think that you might prefer 99.9% resin heads over that's only 82, 83% THC over 99% THC. But I'm talking for recreational purposes much more than medical. If somebody gets medical benefit, that's what they should have.
Yeah, but even most of the GW work showed that these whole plant extracts, these medicinal extracts that have all the terps in them, or at least a lot of the sesquiterps, are more effective than the.
Absolutely, but you can't tell somebody, hey, the literature proves it's more effective on you. If it ain't more effective on them, then what can you say?
No doubt.
Yeah, but where are we saying that these crystals are more effective? You know?
Oh, I'm not. I'm just saying if somebody would find such a thing, then that's the way it should be for them.
Sure, no, for sure.
Well, when you're formulating medicine and you're trying to formulate ratios and specific milligrams to milliliters of volume, like having a 99.9% anything is always awesome when you're.
Yeah, that's the point.
Look, formulation. I mean, you're talking formulations. Who the fuck is making the formulations, and what the hell do they know? That stuff is based on science. That stuff is based on studies, right? It's not just some dude in his basement making formulations. That's bullshit. You know?
You want to know something that's
bullshit?
You just insulted what I do. Thank you very much. I guess I should just stop.
Listen, before that kind of stuff.
Here's my hat.
Listen, you can do it, but maybe you do it in a real context that's regulated.
Damn it,
right?
I wanted to be a chemist when I grew up, man. What the fuck? Holy shit, dude.
Luckily,
you stole my thunder. You told me to stop working. What the fuck?
No, I didn't say stop working. I just said, luckily for society, that stuff is regulated, right? Like, making medicines or making formulations can be dangerous. And granted, cannabis is safe, but still, it's not just like some job for anybody to think that they're a hero and they're going to be making medicine for people. That's not the way it works. Sorry.
No, but some people are going to be doing that, and if those are the people that are making formulations, well then, what's the problem?
No, but there's no problem. It's just that when you do it under regulation, right? It's not like freestyle in someone's basement.
That's right.
Well, and if you're under regulation, I'll give you an example. Like if you're going to batch something and you're like, okay, you've got solution A and you hit 670 milligrams or 67% THCA, and this other solution you hit, 85% CBDA, and you mix the two solutions, you just have a quick formulation. If you have a ratio of 2:1, 3:1, 8:1 that you have to calculate in milligrams per milliliter and the displacement of that volume when you come together. So obviously having 99.9% starting point when you're making formulations makes that mix down of any medicine you're doing very, 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 very on point and easy to do every time or duplicate.
Tony, do you know what the requirement was for Marinol, for their THC Marinol pill?
The synthetic one?
Yes. Do you know what the requirement was for the THC?
No.
99.5% pure.
Wow.
These guys are actually making stuff that was purer than what Marinol was doing.
Wow.
Funny,
Marinol is a racemic mixture, right?
No, it wasn't a racemic mixture. They HPLC'd out the racemic mixture, so it was just a negative, just like natural cannabis. But it maybe had a little bit of delta 8 or whatever in it.
Yeah, I might be mistaken, but what's on the U.S. market today is racemic mixture.
No, I don't think so. Check it out.
Okay, I will.
Yeah, get back to me. If you're right, then I'll eat my words. But
no, I might be incorrect. I might be thinking about previously.
You got to remember, when I started in the pharmaceutical business, it was to make an imitation product of Marinol. That's what we started doing, long before we were working with GW Pharmaceuticals.
So, Sam, tell us, when did they transition from the racemic mixture, which what it was at one point, to the single enantiomer?
I thought they did that when it started being manufactured by under contract for Unimed. When they first started, they were using materials that they obtained from the U.S. government. Maybe that was racemic, but as far as I know, the THC in Marinol is not racemic because racemic, the positive doesn't even, it's not even effective. I don't know what the ratio was if you thought it was. Yeah, try to find out, but I'm almost sure
it's not effective at all, but I think when they were first making it by synthetic route, where you're stuck with a racemic mixture, you're not making it by the plant, right?
No, but you can HPLC the two mixtures apart from each other.
Right, but that's not economically viable for a manufacturer of a pharmaceutical.
Yeah, but it's not economically viable to produce it in the synthetic route at all. You got
what you would do,
they were paying $30,000 a kilo for a Livital when I was using cannabis to make pure THC, or basically almost as pure, you could do it for less than $30,000 a kilo. So, yeah, they could buy a Livital and then synthesize THC, like you say.
So what's the natural source of a Livital?
What's that?
What's the natural source of a Livital?
I don't know. They were buying it from a wholesale supply place for $30,000 a kg.
Is it a Livital or a levotolic acid?
I'm not 100% sure. You know, I'm not a chemist. I'm just a guy who's been there and done that.
Yeah, I wonder if it is a Livital, because then it wouldn't have to be decarbed, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure, Mark. You would probably know much better than me.
Hey, so what's going on with Soma and Rick? You guys got an update for us? Rick, you want to give us an update on what's going on in the life of Rick?
Life of Rick. Well, let's first shine a little light on my dad.
Of course.
A lot of fighting he's been doing, trying to get his motions through, and they've all been denied.
Yeah.
Since the last on Hash Church, though, freedalisi.com has been revamped. And yeah, there's a new petition up that you can sign that will go directly to Obama and Rick Scott, which is the governor of Florida. As far as me, just been really busy. Me and Ramon were busy rebranding Aether and just getting things locked in, and doing a lot of development, setting up a new spot to work, and busy with rosin and extracts.
Nice.
Also, whatever I could get my hands on. Yeah, everything's cool. Just been working a lot with Soma, and I'm thankful for all the love he shows and trying to reciprocate it.
Yeah, that's always a good thing to hang out with Soma. It's nice to see you, Soma. It's weird to not see you for this last year because there was no Amsterdam Cup.
Yes, yeah. It definitely left a hole.
Oh, man, I'll tell you. I hope that more people go to Jamaica next year if it happens in November again, because the only thing it was really missing was all those great people that stayed back home and just were like, I'm not going to Jamaica. It's fucking high times, guys.
My wife wasn't having it. My wife was like, you could bring me and the whole family.
I did it. I did that very thing, and that's why it worked out good. It's kind of a place you can have a little vacation with your family and enjoy some time at the Cup. So hopefully if it happens next year, we'll see more of you guys out there. It would definitely be good to see you out there, Soma.
Yeah, man.
How's your little man doing?
He's doing good. He was sick for a couple of days, but he's feeling better now.
All right, good, good. Yeah,
it's always dark here in the winter, man.
Oh, I know.
The sun is not coming out this month. It just doesn't seem to be coming out, right?
Yeah, it's not.
And
it's hard to deal with.
I really like the sun, It's like, even if it's cold, I like the sun. But when it doesn't come out.
So you're looking forward to Spain then?
I don't know if I'm going this year. I'm having fun here right now. Just doing my Amsterdam stuff,
That's cool.
I'll be out there for sure.
The Amsterdam stuff is good. You got the family. I mean, I can imagine that you're good to go.
I mean, I'm really watching all the world conditions right now. you know, and this is a nice place to watch it from. So I'm just chilling right now, just like seeing how everything's unfolding, because things are moving really fast in many directions, not just cannabis, you know.
I'll tell you, that is for certain. Things have definitely.
I mean, how's the Canadian currency right now?
I think it's in the toilet still.
It's coming up. It's a little better. I watch it every day. So
yes, but compared to like 5 years ago, how is it?
In the toilet.
Toilet completely. The dollar sucks.
Yeah, but it's not the only fiat currency that's in the toilet right now.
Right. Of course.
All fiat currencies are getting ready to do it.
You know, some of us have sunshine, some of us don't see the sun for a month, some of us have strong currency, and some of us don't. But what links us together is this herb.
Yes, and that is actually the strongest currency I know of these days.
We were talking about that last
That's
week.
his strong currency. So I mean, when you say to Bubbleman, how's his currency, you mean how's his head stash? How's his
yes, exactly, man. I mean, if I didn't have something good to smoke, and I had to look at like everything from Syria, everything from Syria to Sirius, like if I didn't have something good to smoke, and some of my friends like that guy Sam, I don't know where he is, but he's there somewhere. If we didn't have something good to smoke, I think we'd tweak out, man.
Remember what Fat Freddy said. Fat Freddy said, good dope will get you through times of no money better than money will get you through times of no dope.
You better believe it. You cannot smoke money.
Oh, no. So at the end of the day, if like, you know, you're part of that fam and somebody's like, hey, man, I've hit rock bottom. I don't have any money. You're like, yeah, I feel you, man. Me too. But if somebody says, man, I am out of resin or I am out of this or that, you're like, oh, it's an emergency. You know, it should be a red alert emergency.
Yes.
You know, and that's when that community comes together. You know.
All right. Well, here goes some 6-star bubble hash strawberry banana from DNA, squished into rosin on the sapphire insert. Let's do this.
Super Bowl. Super Bowl Sunday.
I've got about 10 solventless things in this Super Bowl.
Crazy rosin on the Super Bowl.
Wow, that was delicious and tasty. That's, I'll tell you, these strains that are just so overwhelmingly tasty, I definitely think we're going to see an increase in terpene content, naturally even so, through breeding in the future years. It's incredible. Hey, Rick and Soma, did you catch that photo that I posted on Instagram of the clear domes bubbling on the nail? And my reflection is puffing a bong inside.
Checking it right now.
I saw.
Man, it was an accident. It was total an accident, but man, it was a good accident. It was one of those accidents that you were happy happened. And isn't it true that often a lot of our learning in life happens during accidents? They happen during times of an accident. And it sort of goes, you know, not against what Chimera was feeling about how, you know, we got to be careful, because it's true, even though someone did simultaneously write in the chat room, 90% of the shit that we've figured out in cannabis has been stoners in basements figuring, you know, using organic chemistry concepts. And I will say this, that it definitely is in life where some of my biggest mistakes have become some of my biggest opportunities. With that said, don't blow up. Don't burn yourself. Be careful. Be safe. There's lots of safe ways to play around with cannabis, and I suspect if you're not putting it out on the market and you're just sort of playing around with yourself and you have access to a lab and you can get it tested, well, then power to you.
Yeah, well, you're sophisticated making crystals. You should be going to a lab. I mean, come on. It's not too much to ask. It's like, and as far as, you know, as far as stoners discovering stuff in basements, That's fine. We do discover a lot of stuff in basements.
The bubbles.
Yeah, we do discover a lot of stuff in basements, but that's not the way it's done in the future, you know? Like, especially when you're putting products on the market.
That's the main thing, I guess, for sure. When you're putting products on the market, you definitely have them. I gotta mute your mic, Chad. That's why I keep muting it, because you have a terrible reverberation that comes through when it's not muted, and if I speak, it makes bad sounds. So that is why I keep muting your mic. Feel free to unmute it if you want to talk, but when I'm talking, I need to mute it. So that was that. You're not going down to the cup?
I just wanted to say I don't sell these crystals on the open market at dispensaries or anything like that. And just to make it clear, these crystals are the same crystals you see in every slab of waxing up shatter, whether it's made from BHO or not, even rosin. When it waxes up, that's literally the crystal happening from the evaporation of terpene. So it's not like these crystals are some rare form of crystal. It's in every concentrate that everyone's smoking. It's the same form of crystals, just on different scales. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
I was thinking that before, but I wasn't 100% sure because I see it so much lately, and I was seeing it in rosin, in BHO, sugar wax, from shatter, changing. So I was thinking that also earlier. Hey, Jen, what would be the regulations in Berkeley if someone showed up at the dispensary with something like this?
I'd have to actually go to the lab first, and it has to actually come up with, clean specs, And if so, then we have to see what exactly, they'll tell us exactly what's in it. So I wouldn't go before the lab, so the lab always goes first. So
Yeah,
it has to be the end of the story.
Yeah, that's a cool thing about the Berkeley situation. Has anybody seen these in Vancouver, at the Vancouver dispensaries? Anyone?
Any what?
Any of these crystal type things?
I think the crystals that are floating around, I thought maybe Sunrise had some THC crystal A, but there's nothing in town that has, out of the 141 clubs that I know of, it isn't marketable up here yet. We're not seeing it.
That's another concern. There is THCA crystal that's available, and has been available for many years. That's produced through chromatography or column chromatography methods, right? And those are much more prone to solvent contaminations methods. So, I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah.
Look at Rick in the background. He's getting he's getting a new Instagram set up for his crystals. He's over there. He's like crystal THC. You can't lie. I know you, bro. I'm like watching you. You're like getting.
I was looking at Bubbleman's photo and the reflection of him. I was tripping off of it.
Not to mention that we're smoking this nice Amnesia Haze rosin.
Oh, this stuff is strong.
Out of a vaporizing pen?
It's a weird vape pen. This vape pen always hits the terps perfect. I don't understand it. Out of all the vape pens I've ever
Have you pulled it apart?
Oh, here we go.
What do you mean?
Good question.
There was a guy in here today, Sam, and we had a big discussion about vape pens, and he was just like, he contacted me through private message, and he said, look, I learned a bunch of shit about vaporizers working with this company I'm working with, and I'd love to come share it. I don't want to make a commercial. I'm not trying to promote the company, but it's literally valid information for the audience. And then he told me what it was, and I was like, yeah, that sounds like a good, decent conversation we could have. But this guy takes those pens and just takes them all apart and literally takes everything apart about them. And his worry was that they were using different alloys in the metal wicks, and in the ceramic wicks behind them there were different, glues and wires and products. And so He was just suggesting that we really take a look at these companies that are producing these pens. Wasn't really calling a particular company out, but
have them check on the per se.
it was a neat. Yeah, I mean, I can ask Sam. He started a conversation in Hash Church group where he's got some pictures of taking these pens apart. He also got John to pull this piece out of his pen today, and he was like, "What the fuck is this?" And he lit it on fire, and it burnt till it was black and gone. And it was an interesting conversation. I mean, I'm not trying to shit on any pens or promote any pens, but just saying that.
Pens, but this is the only one. Whenever I use it over at Soma's, it shocks me.
Well, the fact that it's preserving the terpenes, I would suggest, is a good sign.
Yeah, it's called the Persei, P-E-R-S-E-I.
The Percy. I like the name. How's it going, Cuban? Back at the cup, puffing on a big fatay.
Yeah, this is a Canagar. It's a it's like a Thai stick almost.
Is it dipped in terps?
It's made with dry sift, 14 grams of flour wrapped in a cookie leaf, and it burns quite nice. It's made by, I want to say they go by the Fine Artisans, but on Instagram the dude's name is the Draft Dodger.
Nice.
It burns so slow, bro. I've been smoking this since last night. It's like 1 inch an hour. It falls hard.
Huh. Well, thanks for coming back and visiting with us. It's been an interesting church, kind of heading back and forth in a different variation of conversations, puffing on some great 5- and 6-star resins. I'm definitely feeling like it's time for another Super Bowl. Super Bowl Sunday, guys. Pack up your bowls. Make them super.
John, you're looking at your vape pen all in this confused look. Are you all right?
Yeah, well, you know what? I just tore one apart. I'm really enjoying this one. I know I'm going to have to break this apart after the show. I need to know. It's like, fuck. Is there cotton in there right now? Is there something going on? I was really enjoying this pen, and then I had to start watch this. And I started taking the other ones apart and talking with Mark, and over the years they've all came apart. You were there in Jamaica, they'd like coming apart, stuff like that, and then seeing what's all behind those glues and all of that. Wow, it's like fuck. And now I'm like, I really love this. What's burning in there? Is it harming me? Is there what's the research behind this? And there's so much involved with these pens with all the e-vapor sticks. You go into any London drug, Shoppers, Safe, anywhere, probably 7-Eleven, you get these vapor pens now. So really, it's technology is going to take it to another step. We're ever going to be able to get better technology. I'm worried.
Don, you're right, though. You want to know. Ignorance is not bliss.
Yeah, I'm like, I need to know. I'm going to smash this apart later, of course.
That's a double. So anything with a rod in the middle is always going to be a double coil wick. They hide the wick behind the rod. So I've been doing a lot of research on them too, and it's.
This is definitely a wick system. You can see the holes in here. So inside where so yeah. I'm just like, fuck.
Well, I thought maybe that for a second there, that little yellow spot on your neck was a hole that you were trying, like one of those smoker holes. Yeah. That's because at first I saw you. You looked really confused when he said another Super Bowl. Like Super Bowl, and you were looking at it, and I thought you were going to go right here with it.
Tracheotomy?
No. No, this is we're going to hang the purple punch terps. And I can all the time. I'm thinking it's a little knob. Like you can put drops of terps on it, it just absorbs and then goes right into the neck and right into the system. It'd be perfect. Little thing there, just like dab.
It'd be perfect. You know what? I could design that in my basement.
Hey, I'm already working on it in my garage. Rick's already got a fucking Twit page going, so.
I was waiting for your response on that one.
Nothing can be creative in the basement anymore, Bubbleman. You got to get all your ideas into a lab. You know, you can't hit your head. If you're going to hit your head and come up with a flux capacitor, it's not going to be at your house. I can
What
assure
if the lab is in a basement? Is that not good?
It happened in my bathroom.
Most of my great ideas do happen in You know, just in moments of life like that. You're in the bathroom, you
shower.
You know, you're in the car driving, and then something happens. You're like, oh shit, and like your brain goes another direction. But no, I agree. If you're going to put any products on the market, you know, it's very, very difficult to say that you've done it in a sterile way, in a regulated way. It puts too much honesty on the system. Like when you're in a regulated system in a lab, everything has to get tested in and out, batches, everything. Everything's accounted for. Every milligram's accounted for. Manufacturing accounting's accounted for. But ideas and great things to come from basements and garages.
From mason jars.
I grew my first psychedelic mushrooms in mason jars.
Oh, mason jars are awesome.
Well, they're kind of crucial if you want to grow them, especially for the rye grain part.
They were back then anyway. I mean, it was before the PF tech, so we still had to, you know, produce the agar mycelium. You know, we couldn't just go from spore to grain. We had this middle process of producing the mycelium on the agar, which you would then inoculate the grain that you pressure cooked with.
Yeah.
But it was good. I'm glad I got to do it. It was definitely not a product you could buy on the market.
You could hear.
You could hear, yeah, I know. I've done it. I've bought them. I like it. I like them fresh. It's nice. You can eat so many when they're fresh and be like, man, I just ate like 80 grams of mushrooms. And it's like, oh, so you ate like 2 grams of mushrooms? I ordered my first spores from Terence McKenna's company in Kauai back in the late 80s, early 90s. It was called Scialdone, which I see there's an extract company by that name now, and I wonder if he is familiar that was Terence McKenna's spore company. Him and his wife, Kat, actually.
In the 1970s, they were selling magic mushrooms all over the West Coast, packaged with a label, and it had actually a picture of a Amanita muscaria on it, although that wasn't. They were selling through Dennis. I've even got one. It's in my collection of labels. Maybe I'll find it and show it to you, everybody, next week.
Yeah, don't make us wait for the whole year, man.
I'll try not to.
Not in February, man. Come on.
Well, some things are worth waiting for.
Yeah, I want some of what you're smoking, man.
I'm enjoying some 6-star. You definitely want some. It's been wonderful. Got me all blasted up. 954 live viewers watching, checking it out from all over the world. We didn't do it today, but Todd did ask a few last week or the week before for everyone to say where they were from, and it was pretty incredible to watch the countries and the different names of cities and places go by. It was pretty awesome. Everyone's quiet. I feel like it's my duty to just...
It is quiet. I was going to say it got really quiet.
Bong rip.
Bong rip. Heard someone say turp dip.
Yeah, you got the videos from D420 are so funny, bro.
Aren't they?
Played over and over. Bong rip.
I just watched it for like 2 minutes the other day.
Dude, how about the one with his beard?
Yeah, where he slides over, turp dip.
It was double dip.
Triple dip.
Oh, I couldn't stop saying it for like 2 days. It was awesome.
I'd walk into the deli, be like, turp dip.
Yeah, it's hard not to say, especially because now anytime someone says anything, when you have those vines in your mind, you can almost always fit in somewhere, whether it's bong rip, terp dip, double dip, triple dip, bong rip.
Super Bowl, dude. Super Bowl.
Dude, it was literally like less than a month ago. I was like, dude, you should check out Vine. It's kind of
banana plugs.
like, dude's killing it on Vine. I also feel that it has the ability, some of those that could go viral almost, the way they grab you. Bong rip.
Bong rip, turbo dip.
Fuck yeah!
Fuck yeah, that's the best part, bro.
Where he's standing on his table. I'm glad someone else is enjoying these as much as I am. I knew it had to be. It had to be.
I was showing those to Sam on Skype the other day. We were laughing our ass off. Good job, Darrin. You're funny.
Damn.
It's pretty ridiculous. I don't think he's in the room right now, but I wish he was, because it really is.
He'll see it, though.
He will. He will. If he's not already seeing it.
Bro, I'm just watching it now, like silent, just died.
You like it? I only ever did one. He told me to post it, but I actually sent it to him as a private message. And it's I don't know if I'll be able to show it on here, but this is my reply. 20K.
Double, triple, quadruple dip.
Yeah, triple dip. Fuck yeah!
Bong rip, terp dip, double, triple, quadruple dip. Delicious. Bong rip, terp.
Inspired by D420K, 150%.
But you don't have the right sound, Mark. You need, that bong rip.
Well, mine was just a reply to his hilarity, because you can't copy D420K. You can merely be inspired by and laugh at, and then send your own measly reply that could not compare. Listen, the one with his beard turning sideways, I bet you I've watched it like 400 times. Even if I'm stressed out, and I pull that out and just watch that Vine right now, I'm like, all right, okay, this is
Bong rip.
It's awesome. Wow. I'll try to. We really have to put the one on. I'm gonna put it on because we can't, not have it. God, he puts so many on. It's not easy to find.
The last one is epic.
The last one? Oh, this is the one I like. All right, let's try this.
Bong rip.
Bong rip. Bong rip.
Bong rip.
Bong rip.
He was so stoned during that one, he didn't even put water in his bong.
Fucking right. Double dip. Fuck yeah. Triple dip. Yeah. Bong rip. Turp dip. Fucking right. Double dip. Fuck yeah. Epic, bro.
Holy shit. I can't believe he's not in the... Oh, he went to eat French food. That's right. He's hanging out with his friends that are from Prince George right now. That's okay. He'll watch this and he'll realize, dude, you're definitely bringing much joy to many lives with the bong rip, terp dip, double dip, triple dip. Fuck yeah!
Fuck yeah!
I'm going to have to write a song.
I'm telling you, someone's got to take those vines.
All right.
Just make one of those. Have you seen where they take a...
Why don't you hand those wave files out online, because there's a lot of digital.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'll make like a track that people make it.
It's online.
Heavy metal, jam band style. There could be all kinds of remixes of that right now.
Dude, I think just with the voices and where they make it like auto-tune and like cut it all up.
Yeah, that's what. Give them to me. I'll make a song.
They're on his Vine. His Vine is D420K. So you can check him out on there. I'm on there as well as BC Bubbleman. And I don't really make vines, but I look at Darrin's vines and they make me laugh. Who would have thought it?
Yeah, when you search that, there's a twerk video. Just so you know, when you search what was it?
D420K.
Yeah, I searched D420K, and the first result is a twerk video.
Really?
Yeah, with a pit bull.
Well, I don't know, but I haven't seen any twerk videos on D420K's account.
No, now it takes you to his account. I see it. But when you just search it in Vine, you'll get like twerk videos for whatever reason.
Fucking right.
Fucking right.
He's just awesome, dude.
We got to go take care of our kids.
Peace, brothers.
Thanks for coming in, guys. Much appreciated your time. Hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Really nice to see all y'all and hear from all y'all. Peace.
Barcelona soon. Peace.
Hey, get well, John.
Yeah, man.
Dude, are you kidding me? John got up out of his hospital like the gang of his family.
See ya.
See ya.
Guys. All right. Well, we're 9:10. And we've got 952 people still watching and listening.
I just did the biggest bong rip, and I got tears from it. It was beautiful.
Careful.
It was because of the D420K bong rip turf dig double dip. I had to do one, and now it's ringing in my ears. And
Are you still in the hospital?
No, actually, I made it home. I'm feeling great. I just love this hospital gown, so I'm just wearing it because it's easier. It's just honest, right? I got access. I don't care. I've washed it 3 times. He was like, "Why are you wearing that?" I'm like, "I'm home. I got my PJs on. I'm not going anywhere." It's just
I always wear my hospital when I'm like.
I'm in recovery. It's all good. I'm smoking hash and chilling.
Careful not to cough too hard, buddy. You look good.
Lord, yeah. All right, D-nailing up some sips.
I think I need to motivate towards the cup. It's getting kind of late, and I see other people posting up.
Yeah, well, I'm good with today. We did a nice solid 3 hours, had some decent conversation, and I'm also going to call it a day and spend some time with my family. Going to go skateboarding with my son. But thank you, everyone, for coming out. As always, much appreciated. Thanks, Chad, for coming and sharing crystallization with us, and of course, Cuban for making. Have to just mute there for a second. And really, just thanks everyone for coming and making Hash Church what it is, and everyone that's watching. We do appreciate it. We will see you next week. I'm trying desperately to put this Hash episode together for next week. I'll see during the next early days of the week if I can organize key people to make appearances. At least we have a large amount of people that want to come on and talk, so hopefully that can happen. And we will see you all next week. Thanks for coming out, guys.